Let's say hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down, y'all.
Hunker down.
Hunker down. Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
I think it's on.
Out the
The
window.
recording.
So we're going
device is on.
straight into second weekend.
Now we're gonna introduce ourselves.
I think we should probably do that since we're gonna be here a while.
We're gonna do this in a tight 45 minutes.
Okay.
Go straight through.
Everyone listening right now, what you need to do is just set your listening device to like 2 times speed.
This is
Speed
the
this sucker up.
This is the Mardi Gras mania, the podcast mania, the WrestleMania of our season. This is our flagship show of every year, in which I, Lance Vargas, Reverend Varg Vargas, this gentleman next to me.
Oh, hi, I'm Jeff, and my friend over here.
Yeah, I'm Allie, and this is Chapo Goes to CPAC. No, it's better. It's better. There's no comfortable food here.
Comfortable food.
We review our personal experiences at every Mardi Gras, and through the three of us, if you've ever wondered what the local as fuck experience is,
Well,
don't
one-
tell
one
anyone
of
it's
them.
local.
One of them.
Between
One
the
of
three
many.
of us,
The three of us tend to have a whole Mardi Gras, right?
a decent local perspective.
But not all
Don't
of it.
tell anybody.
You can't get all of it.
No,
You
you
do,
can't
but
get all
yeah, like there are thousands of ways to do a full Mardi Gras, and I don't know that we cover the full, what is even close to the full range. But that's what's great about Mardi Gras.
If you do ours, you did pretty fucking good.
You did great. I did great. I feel great about it.
I did too.
But I mean, I know that there's like other things that I did not do. You know, there's experiences I did not have, and I'm okay with that. You can't do it all. It is all encompassing, which means it's too big for any one person to do.
And I'm finding I can't like really do all of what I do.
Oh,
As
so
much.
your own existential Mardi Gras is beginning to get smaller.
You're aging out.
Maybe. I don't know if I'm aging out of it, but I am definitely doing it. Like I feel like the last few days of Mardi Gras this year, and we'll talk about it later, but like we're definitely like second half of 2018 Drew Brees for me.
Oh, you started throwing picks?
You're just muscling
Well,
through
I
it.
was still. I mean, I set that completion percentage. I did. The team got as far as it could go. We were
Playing at a high level.
Playing at a high level, but it wasn't.
You came out hot, and then
The
you
crowd.
had
there
zero
weren't
picks.
There
for
weren't a
4
shitload
games.
of oohs and ahs from the crowd. It was just okay. That's we're turning in a perfectly cromulent performance here.
The ibuprofen isn't quite doing what it used to do for you.
No. But we made it through.
You every now and then maybe you took your chin strap on your helmet and you just slammed it off real quick and looked at the scoreboard and went and sat on the bench with your helmet on.
Right, a little bit of that.
You reviewed the previous parade schedules on the Microsoft Surface tablet.
Yes.
And looked at them and scrolled angrily with your finger.
This is actually an accurate description of some of what I was doing out there. And then also every now and then someone would play Choppa style. So
and then that would get you back in the game.
exactly.
And a man in really tight jeans chewing juicy fruit would come over and yell at you.
Wearing a pseudo army kind of hoodie / long sleeve sweatshirt type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a dude who loves the troops a little too much. Coming over to yell at you.
Yeah, so basically the crew of Allah.
And speaking of that was what?
So where were we? I guess we should look back at the schedule here.
When you last left the Hunker Down cast, we had just chased Allie down Charter Street to read her a toast. She was the queen of the crew of Mamaru during the Crew de Vue parade. The toast would be read 3 times that night.
So
She was all eye.
So the last thing we talked about was Crew de Vue and the events of what McCash calls the new Mardi Gras, right?
Oh, right. We had an interaction on Twitter with Cash. Listened to our episode.
Oh, that's right. Hi, Doug.
Hey, Doug.
and made it all about him.
Well, so did
Which
we.
is
But,
sure,
yeah.
but we're not Doug McCash.
That's true.
I mean, I didn't watch Midnight in Paris 3 times, but he did. So, who am I to say? I don't know.
Do we secretly love him? I think no. Let's just go ahead and answer that question right now. He put it out there.
I think you have a symbiotic relationship with
I,
him. You need him and he needs you.
I'll be cool with him. I don't know if it's a secret love for him. He's out there.
I mean, I think
doing his thing. I wish no ill will upon him.
Right, he exists, like in the same way that, like, say, the crew of druids exists, you know, and it's good that it's there.
The man who preaches with the umbrella and the megaphone.
He exists.
He exists.
Right,
He's out there.
He's part of the scenery.
Every now and then I hear the Natchez blowing this little steamboat, and I'm like, the Natchez exists.
Right, so it's part of the intricate fabric of the whatever the thing.
The
is.
Dowman Mansion exists.
Not anymore.
Oh wait, no. Sorry.
Ain't there no more.
Jeans Po Boys. Oh no! God damn it!
Jesus Christ!
The wig shop on St. Oh wait. But he listened to our episode, which I need to go back and listen to listen to it through his ears, to be like, what would it be like if Doug was listening to this, and then probably feel a little bit bad about.
Is there a sophisticated way of like searching an audio file for the words?
That's what I was wondering. It's
can you Google yourself in a podcast? Because if you could do that,
how did he know to listen? Was it in a tweet or anything such as that? Because he was on it.
Yeah,
he listened.
Maybe I think we put it in the description, and he probably has a Google alert out for his own name.
Jesus. Well, I need to get one of those.
A Doug McCash Google alert.
Him too.
Anyway, so I guess that was... So we talked about new Mardi Gras last time. And so now we get into the part where we do old Mardi Gras.
Right, if you
let's
buy
go
into
back
all
in
that.
time to the era of the Grand Parade.
We established that there wasn't a new Mardi Gras, I thought.
Right.
Okay.
But, just...
All right, we're going to play along.
So we got out of that part of it, and then we moved into the bigger part of it. And I guess... we usually do this chronologically. We go, like, on this day this happened, and I did this, this, and this. And I think that's worked for us in the past. But I wonder if we should introduce the parade rating scale now before we get into talking about the parades.
How about we'll describe the first parade and use that as an example of the parade scale? Because that's the night that I first heard about it. And then I'll be able to help you out a little bit more with muscle memory. And
okay.
My brain will start to click a little bit more.
And this is, just to be clear, this is Jeff's parade scale. This is not Lance's or mine or NOLA.com or Blake Pontchartrain or Rex Duke or whatever. This is just Jeff being Jeff.
But they don't have a published...
Jeff
ratings scale either.
Jeff is like an innovator. This is the sabermetrics of parades. This is the the BABIP and the IPSO and all those advanced stats.
Sagarin comes into it somewhere.
S&P Plus.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
The future standard.
The future standard.
You're the Bill Connolly of parades. Right? Okay, we're going for it.
Before the Associated Press or the coaches get together and vote, right now this is what we're going to use. And maybe one day there'll be a playoff. I don't know.
We're trying to move from the BCS to whatever it is they do now, the FCS. We're trying to make it happen.
There's accountability in this scale.
There is. So,
we're
previous
hammering
years,
out some bugs.
So this comes out of the last few years.
We need some quant teens to help us out.
I've been going to every parade, and I've started ranking them, and I'll put as the season goes on, I'll go, here are the rankings. Here's these were the best parades this weekend.
You're just whoring for those likes and faves,
and everyone wants to argue about them or accuse you of having some bias for whatever reason,
which is standard operating procedure for you on Twitter anyway.
Right, but really you're just rating the parade. How was the parade? What was your experience like? Anyway, I know I'm going to see a lot of parades, so I decided to put them in order. So I've been doing that for a couple years, and so this year we decided to, like Allie was just saying, give it some science.
Absolutely.
And so we came up with 6 different metrics.
There is a fucking spreadsheet in front of me, you guys. There is a fucking Excel spreadsheet on it, and it is filled out. Holy shit.
So I've decided, I broke them down into 6 different categories.
Why wasn't this put on the internet? You don't want them to see the inner workings of it?
We're explaining it now.
Okay, so it's
He
exclusively.
saved it for the cast.
He saved it for the cast. For Hunker Down cast listeners.
So, and I think this is going to need some work. Like, we may need to like weight this in the future, or revise, like, or add categories, or remove some. But this is what we did this year,
guys. I feel like I'm looking at the NOPD control room, looking at this thing. This is in the inner workings of Jeff's brain right now.
So
it's fascinating.
There are 6 different categories, and you rate each one on a 1 to 5 scale. And then at the end, you just take the average of those 6, and that is the score for that parade. And that's how that parade was for you that week.
Okay.
And then you put them all in a spreadsheet and rank them.
Okay. So you can't just win big on one category.
That's the idea.
So, like, let's say I'm watching Cleopatra.
Right.
And a helicopter lands. Beyonce kicks open the door, says, "Come on, Lance, let's go for a ride." And I get in the helicopter with her and fly over the parade. 5 is the best I'm getting out of that really amazing experience.
According to this year's scoring system, yes, the best you can do in that particular situation is 5.
There should be like a 3-point shot or something like that.
Right. So
like a way that you can score a little extra, something particularly, an X factor.
Right. So next
add
year,
an X factor.
Next year, yeah.
Okay.
Here's how we approach it. So the first thing you think about with the parade is, what was the theme of the parade? Did you like the theme? Was the theme clever? And then, like, did the floats express the theme well? Like, did they all follow it? And did they do something with the theme? Like, we have this great idea for a theme, and then also did we tell good jokes about the theme as we went along?
And I mean, some of them are definitely trying to be funny, and others are definitely not.
And some of them are trying to be funny and definitely not.
Right.
Like, some of them are trying to be serious, not trying to be funny. Some of them are trying to be funny and stupid.
Right, so like Coup d'etat is trying to tell jokes the whole time. Now you can decide, are they funny jokes or are they not funny jokes? Did you like the jokes? Whereas Pontchartrain is just trying to have a fun parade. You know, so you have to. We'll get to that in a minute, but those are 2 different kinds of themes.
Muses is trying to be clever and funny. Orpheus is just trying to be pretty and esoteric.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also a little mythical.
Yeah.
Always a little something.
Do that.
Something somebody uncovered from a really dusty book.
Yeah, it was like in a temple somewhere, and they pulled it out and like, we could tell this
There was mummy juice on it.
Yep. Just listening to that right now on the way over. Shout out One a Time Pod. Our good friends. Our best friends.
We hope you have a Google whatever app that tracks your mentions like Doug McCash does.
Where were we? Oh, so the next category is originality, and this can be expressed in a couple of ways. One is the parade recognizable as a brand? Like, does it have elements to this parade that scream, okay, we are watching Bacchus today?
Oh, those are the KKK looking dudes. This must be...
Exactly. So there's that. So, like, do they have a lot of signature floats? Do they do things that you recognize every year?
It's the dead rock stars. It must be muses.
Yeah. That's right.
I would have gone with the goddessy, but yeah, dead rock stars also.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So the other part of originality is, did they innovate this year? Did they do something that surprises you? Is there something new that this parade did?
Somebody in the meeting of the board of directors of that crew is like, how about we do something different this year? Mm-hmm. How about we
jazz it up,
ditch the cartoon floats and maybe do works of art like Muses did last year or something like that?
Or something comes down the street that you've never seen in a parade before at all.
Okay.
And that would be a big deal. Or even like you get a throw that you've never seen before. That could be
Bacchus swords, for example. Light up swords this year.
The next one is bands. Everybody knows that's pretty simple. Did they have enough bands? Did they have good bands? Was the band playing when they came by you? Did you like it? You know, I
can think of one parade that scored a 0 in bands.
I can too.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get to that. Then the next one is form and variety, and so what this means in my mind is, does the parade, like, is it tight? Like, are they fucking up? Do they have like big
lots of
gaps and shit? Do they have like
5 dance crews?
Do they have a shipwreck on St. Charles a block away from you?
Does a float crash in front of you? Do they have a float with no riders? But also, like, you know,
that's a good one.
Does it present itself in a pleasing way too? And I think Muses
the Flying Dutchman float,
right? but like,
yeah, is it like 18 Shriners organizations and then like nothing but, you know, bad floats?
Right. So, but is it paced out well? Like, is it like float and then a crew and then a band and then another float, or is it just float, and everybody gets bored? You know, so that's something to think about. And then the final category is subjectively, is it fun? And this is like, just, did you have fun watching this parade?
That's when Beyonce could show up.
Did Jeff have fun watching this parade?
Did you personally enjoy this parade for whatever reason? And it can be anything. Like, it can be Beyonce landing in a helicopter.
I was on 2 hits of ecstasy.
Right. Like,
I loved Ocean. It was amazing, man. I was fucking wasted.
It can be like the weather was perfect and I was with my friends.
It can also be a float crashing.
Yeah.
So, like, that
the shipwreck.
The shipwreck, like, they lose points for one thing, but then they get like points for because that was fun. It's fun when shit like that happens.
Let's say there was a massive scale of this, and all the data was put into a huge, massive machine. They would be like, it seems like we're scoring lots of 5s right around the intersection of 3rd and St. Charles. Everybody seemed to have a good time right there. What's going on? Oh, well, that's where the float wreck happened.
Right. So what we would want to do there is we would have everyone use this scale or this system and then submit all of their data at the end of the year.
Feed it into an amalgamation machine.
And they can map it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get very nerdy about this if you'd like to.
I think we might have to weight some of these categories. I think you're right.
We do need to weight them. And, you know, actually I skipped one category because I wanted to kind of mention this, because this is like this year's equalizer is the expectations category. And that is supposed to cover, like, did this parade do what you thought it was going to do? Whereas, like, like we were saying earlier, not every parade is Muses. Some parades are just supposed to be.
Some parades are druids.
Some parades are supposed to be a fun day parade or a smaller parade. And so what you have to ask yourself is, did this parade do what we would expect this parade to do?
Oh, okay. So it's more like, it's not about if they were awesome or amazing. It's about, did they meet the mark that we were setting for them in our heads?
Yeah, like, instead of asking, was it a good parade in general, was it a good Ocean?
Well, so now this brought up a little bit of a dispute on the parade route, whereas, like, if you expect Ocean to suck and it sucks, it suddenly scores high for just continuing to suck. Or if one of the racist parades, if they're racist again, you're like, I expected them to do that, then they score high for doing something bad.
Yeah, it's science.
Okay, well, sounds good to me. That's just the kind of shit I'm into.
So, I guess we should start to give you an example of how this works, and we'll start with Ocean since it was the first.
Which was 19 on your list, or the second from the last?
Yeah. So what we do at the end of this is we take the spreadsheet and we average everything out, and then I rank them. So that's fine. So that's the framework, right? And with that in mind, now we can tell stories.
So the first one that I saw, I believe, was on that first Friday, and it was Ocean.
Okay.
And it's been a while. I remember 5 on the scale of how good of a time I was having. And pretty much some zeros all the way down the line, except for my expectations of it, which I guess it never stood out one way or the next to me. So it was a 2.5 on the expectation scale, which then quickly became a 0 because it sucked.
So the problem.
So I had general Mardi Gras parade expectations, and it fell beneath them.
But it was a fun day, right?
Yep.
Kind of.
I wasn't there, to be clear. I had a work thing.
So Ocean, here's the problem with them. They did this thing this year that not a lot of people, but I noticed happening over and over again. And they didn't have any bands. Or they had a few, but mostly what they had were like dance teams walking behind a truck with speakers that were pumping in marching band music.
And the speakers were of varying quality, and some of them, the treble was a little too high. Or there was only treble and there was no bass. It sounded like piped-in band music from bad speakers.
Because that's
but
what
loud.
it was. Yeah.
Loud bad speakers.
So that was a problem. Also, like they started. You remember they started with like 7 consecutive dance teams.
Yeah, it was strange. It was like they were going. It was like punk rock almost. They were just going for this strange kind of like, oh yeah, you don't think we can start with 7 straight dance troops? We're starting with 7 straight dance troops. And then I was like, is this abstract? Is this like over my head? But apparently not. Apparently it just was poor organization. That's just why they scored 19 on your list, huh?
Right. That's why they were the worst.
They sucked. Well, we had a good night, and we started quick. I biked all the way there from the gallery, and I got my bike legs on me. That's when
right.
I was like, okay, I can bike from the gallery to Jeff's and home pretty well. Because I've moved since the last year. I'm coming at Mardi Gras from Algiers Point again without a wife. So I had to learn my own patterns and whatnot. Get over there.
Is it harder to like? Is the ferry schedule worse or better than it had been?
It's good. They for the second week they bumped it all up to late 11s. But no, you heard that?
Whoa!
Yeah. My dog Doris is here tonight. Everybody, she is. This is our first podcast with her, and she's old and she farts a lot, and hopefully we pick it up on the mic. She's going strong. She's 16. I love her to death. She's just old and farts a lot. She's gross, basically, at this age. If you get an old dog, expect them to be gross.
You know, I'm old and I fart a lot too. So I feel you, Dodo. I feel you.
Ooh, there she goes.
Yeah. She has a honking cough. It's beautiful. Love her still.
So then Saturday, there was a bunch of stuff that happened in the daytime that I'm trying to remember. That's why I'm flipping through the pictures here. You guys didn't come out Saturday.
No, because our friends Scotty and Beth were in town, and so we were hanging with them on Saturday. And also the weather was really bad, so we hung out at their house. And we were going to do it on Sunday, but then on Sunday they all went to the zoo, and they had the zoo like all to themselves.
Oh, man.
So they just got to see Valerio because he was back out.
He's back. Today's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Today is Valerio's birthday.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I thought we were going to go to the zoo on his birthday.
Well, we had other shit to do, but today is his birthday.
God damn it. Happy birthday, Valerio.
Oh, man, I'm so glad we're here.
And they all act for you now at the Audubon Zoo, Valerio. They all act for you, bro.
I noticed that his cousin, who was in the news this week.
You just assume they're related because of their.
All the Jaguars are related. They all come from the original Jaguar, who was active during the time of Heroes.
Oh, right.
And they all have the blood in them. And anyway,
Jason,
This is the movie you're writing this summer, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, cool.
Don't know exactly how we're going to get the costumes, but it's fine.
But the thing about Valerio's cousin that I just learned is that this incident that we saw today or this week, this particular Jaguar had attacked a person previously.
Yes.
So this one is after.
They're so hungry for blood.
The freaking
Jaguars are suddenly one of the cooler mascots if your team's the Jaguar.
I would think.
Jacksonvillians.
I would think.
Leonard Fournette's a Jaguar.
Leonard Fournette is a fucking Jaguar.
Yep, and he's got that attitude too.
This one just got served up. This victim, though,
Yeah,
he was just like, "What was I supposed to do?" Like he didn't have
he's
to
right
do
there.
anything.
She's right there.
There was not a venture happening. He did what almost everybody wants to do when they see someone taking a selfie, even if it's not in their personal space.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, so let's get back on this. Saturday, what I remember about Saturday was that I was out by myself a lot of the day with the camera, and I was taking pictures of the neutral ground to see what kind of stuff people still had after LaToya led the glorious charge to remove all of the things.
Alonso Fons de la Mardi
Toya.
Gras.
Yeah.
Which they need to do far better. They need to just get there needs to be a parade of Mardi Gras of steak trucks where they just come down the fucking thing and just grab all that bullshit. And I think what they're trying to do right now is they make sure the press is there, they grab a block or two. Those people are clearly pissed off, as I would be as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then
that photo of Permit Patty or whatever that was chasing after the truck was pretty glorious.
It was beautiful. But these guys who are putting these fucking things out, they're smarter than all that. So they need a slash and burn type fucking thing.
Mardi Gras Linda?
Yeah.
I think there's an arc with this. I think that last year Mitch started doing this, and LaToya's followed it up, and they've gotten even better about it. Because I remember last year the big quote in the paper was, "We have bolt cutters." They'll come out and clip your shit. But this year the quote was, "These items will not be returned; they will be destroyed." And
which created a counter wave of people thinking they should be donated to people and stuff like that.
That's right. But it started a conversation. But the arc with this is, it made the news last year, and it made a big splash this year. I feel like people paid a lot more attention to it, and were having more fun joking around with it. But also, just it made a bigger impression this year than it had made previously. So
a couple of the people who maybe set it up on a whim might just see that and then be done with it and not set it up. And the people who've been doing it for years and years, and they have a tradition and a ritual set up, they're going to be like, "No, you want it? You come take it from my cold dead hands. You got some fundamentalists."
My letter has a Blue Lives Matter Punisher sticker on it.
Yeah. That means you ain't taking my $40 tent.
Yeah.
Like somebody who's just gonna go like, "Oh, all we gotta do," like your Orleans Avenue people. They seem like, "Well, just go set it up real quick, and that's all you gotta do." Yeah. Those guys might be less inclined to do it based on these news stories, but you're more,
Your hardcore people.
Yeah.
So the other thing I'm thinking about with this is that, I like this program of taking a day, and I think it's like the Tuesday before the parades start happening. They all go out and make a big show of it, and they get on the news. They make a point of getting on the news.
Yeah, it's the Tuesday before Big Weekend.
The people who are at least are a little bit civilized about things, they're at least aware that this is an issue, and so they're less likely to put as much stuff out there.
So the fringes,
will
start to smooth over, and taper off,
and I think that's been effective. But what I'm worried about is that in coming years, is people are going to get used to the pattern. They're going to know, oh yeah, here's the day they come to make a show of everything. And then after a while, we can go put our shit back out, and it doesn't really matter.
That's why you got to do surprise attacks.
Surprise ladder control.
Tactical.
Sneak attack. Ninja squad.
And also, you just take your chances and be like, hey, they're only going to hit a certain couple blocks. And
right.
As long as your shit ain't on those blocks, you're going to be okay. And if your shit is on those blocks, you run to Academy, you get your other tent.
Yeah.
And then you're good to go.
I think that actually gets at the last thing you said there about you run to Academy and you get another tent. I think that gets at part of the reason why these things have proliferated so much over the last, 5-10 years, is because it has literally never been cheaper to just buy more bag chairs, tents, ladders. They're dirt cheap. And they weren't always so widespread or available or anything like that. People probably have them in their car already, and they're driving uptown to pick up their kids from school or whatever, so they can just drop it off. I feel like there are ancillary stories about what's gone on in the larger economy, or even in the recovery patterns and what has happened locally that play into this development of why the fuck are ladders and tents and space saving so such a thing? Why is it? And I wonder if it has to do with nylon and steel, or whatever.
Just the material.
The Chinese factory that makes this shit is does it better and cheaper than ever, or there's more Academy sports than there used to be, or people are more spread out than they used to be because of schools and gentrification and stuff, and so then people get stacked up and like feel really territorial around the parade. You know, like I don't know what it. I feel like there's like a lot of these bigger explanations that feed into this. I'm not saying any one of them is 100% because that doesn't exist.
No, but I think that you named several just now, and they're all like I think a lot of them are worth considering, and definitely the fact that this stuff is more available now than it used to be.
Yeah.
Especially the chairs. Mm-hmm. I think the chairs.
The chairs get worse every year.
They do, and I think they really started becoming a thing probably like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And they just have proliferated, and now the way people use them is just, it's worse than the way they use the ladders, because I think
on your part of the route.
Yeah, that's probably true. But I still feel like the message with the ladders has gotten through to a lot of people. Like, so you can see places on the route where they used to just jam them all up on the curb. They've moved them back. And then, and Doris agrees with me.
Yeah, you think about the ladders, it's like, get them. You're like, destroy them all, Doris? All right, yeah. Doris is all about destroy them all. Yeah. Fundamentalist, obviously.
But anyway, so Doris, these chairs... They what the people do when they go out there is they.
Yeah, you're right.
I know.
They don't even. They try and save their space without even having to be there. Right. Yeah, it's okay.
Or it's like this device that you could use.
No. It's not like that.
It's like an exoskeleton, right? Like it's a device that you can place around your person that like. Cordons off this area for you.
Don't come near me. Don't touch me. And if I need to go home, there's a reasonable expectation that I'm going to have a space there when I get back.
Right. And they jam it
it's
all
the taking of public property, which seems to be happening more and more also.
It's just, and the worst
thing claiming of it when you really have no business doing it. And you know what? Fucking standing, if everyone just stood... There'd be so much more fucking space. That's the funniest part. It's just like, hey, you got an old person with you? Yeah, bring them out a chair. If you can stand, fucking stand. You know, you can get in and around. You know,
or just put your chairs in the back. Just put your chairs in the back. If you want, you get tired, you can go sit down, sit your ass in the chair, and then get up later, and then come. It's fine. But people, what they do with the chairs is they jam them all up at the front, like right on the curb.
Right
so
next to each other.
There's this impenetrable mass of them, and they put them in rows. They start to arrange them like there's like for the bigger parades, it will go like 4 or 5 chairs deep of just like rows of chairs, and no one can move.
Nor are they often occupied. Like oftentimes they get up and they stand and they go to the fucking parade anyways. You know,
right?
It's just like, come on. But you know what? This is one of those things, I call it the left-hand lane. It's just like, everyone knows you drive fast in the left-hand lane, and you drive slow in the right-hand lane. And yet, anytime you drive for more than an hour on the interstate, you always find that fucker that's still driving slow in the left-hand lane, and just, they haven't figured it out. They're not going to figure it out. If they're still out there, it's just a comment on humanity in general's inability to figure out even the simplest fucking thing.
Yeah, that's about right.
So let's move on to Sunday. Okay. Jesus.
Right. So Sunday, were you guys out there on Sunday?
What a diversion.
Yes.
Sunday, I got on my bike. I pedaled my ass down there. I got there a little late. I missed Femme Fatale, though. I caught it coming through downtown. Mm-hmm. That was awesome. On the way there, I saw the raccoon cop.
The raccoon cop.
The taxidermied raccoon? That's
yep,
a cop?
Yep. I thought about getting a picture of it, but I didn't, and I'm sad because I saw a newspaper article about it the next day, and I was like, I know that raccoon cop. Saw him, I forgot him. He's got a name. Then I caught up with y'all in our usual spot. This is usually a fun day. This is our last day as friends to really enjoy it, you know. Or it's our day. It's somewhat local as fuck. Chad invasion hasn't happened. It's not a bunch of chairs, not a bunch of tents.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's us. It's our last Mardi Gras day in our town before it becomes everybody else's fucking town.
It was fun. I got there for the second half of Femme Fatale, and the weather was so beautiful. I think Pat and I were both wearing matching sun shirts, to protect from the rays. It was a good day.
So I've talked about Femme Fatale the last couple of years, and they're, but like I think like of that weekend, they're kind of the highlight, and it's I think it's specifically because they have all the bands.
Mm-hmm.
They really do have all the good bands.
They do.
And they don't really do like anything overly clever, but they have enough stuff to look at, and it's a fun parade to be at.
So their expectation mark is going up.
Yeah, that's probably true. So like next year, if I'm like, hey, Femme Fatale's a really great parade, and you get up at 11 o'clock in the morning to go see it, and it sucks,
and there's too many dance crews in a row.
Yeah.
That day we also saw the Audubon Zoo people who had a Jaguar. Well, they weren't the Audubon Zoo people. They were a dancing crew. And their name is unrememberable.
No, they're called the Dames de Perlage.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's rememberable by your Mardi Gras nerd, Jeff.
So they're one of these marching
Beat the
crews.
Geeks. Remember that show?
Yeah.
We got a Mardi Gras geek out here.
They were doing a zoo theme this year.
They had a Jaguar. I think her name was Stacy, chose it before the Valerio incident had occurred.
Okay.
So she struck gold on that. Also, during the last year, had breast cancer, beat it, and had from what I could tell by her outfit, a pretty badass reconstruction.
Okay.
Damn it, dude.
Well, she had said it to me also. I didn't ask. She said, and I had them reconstructed. Look. And I was like, looks pretty good to me.
I mean, it is kind of a time to display.
It was all Stacy.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I'm constantly exceeding Allie's expectations. Like, they must be piss poor.
We both met this person. I gave her one of my Valerio beads.
Stacy. I think that's what was her name.
That was her name. You made a point of having them recreate.
Gathering it. There was an ostrich, which I just said, fuck it, you're an emu now.
Okay.
And, what the fuck else he ate? A fox.
Fox, yeah.
And there were no alpacas because he killed them all. He's like, I'm scoring on alpaca. If it was a dart game, Valerio's scoring on alpacas.
So you arranged them and made a photograph of them all.
Because there was a lull in the parade, and because Jeff said I couldn't do it, and because I remembered how we chased Allie down the street, I was like, fuck that. We can make this happen. We can make a little Mardi Gras miracle happen. So we did.
That's great.
Then
I'm trying to remember what else we saw.
A couple more parades came in, and then Allah came by.
Right.
Which you rated higher this year than in previous years, although it did still kind of suck.
I have almost no memory of what the fuck happened during Oh wait, the Elvi were there that day. That was daytime Elvi?
Yes.
That was
the Elvi are getting big now. The Elvi now have 3 sub-crews. They have a little dancing crew called the Jailhouse Rockers that do 310, 610 stomping type duty.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Rolling Elvi, which are in the scooters, and then they have a ladies group called the Priscillas. And then before you get to the Priscillas, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody listening, you have to be in the Ann Margarets. And that's for true.
Just in case you're wondering, I found Allah on the list, and they were 24th out of 26th.
Oh,
yeah.
So still, they moved up. They were last year.
They were last year, but there were reasons why the 2 below them were bad, and they were especially bad.
Trending up, Allah.
Yeah,
good job.
Sort of. Yeah. So what else about Sunday?
I don't even remember much of Sunday. I think Pat went and got chicken again. That's always a highlight.
Yes.
Those damn chicken fingers and just drinking outside in the sunshine. That's just. I don't even remember much of the parades or anything. I love hanging out with y'all in the sun, eating chicken and drinking beers. It's great.
We accomplished those things.
We did.
Also, I wore an Adidas tracksuit, and I was only catching gold beads because I wanted to look like Run DMC. And that's something I might continue.
Okay.
I'm going to start only catching beads that match whatever outfit I have on. So if it's like a pink and purple thing, only purples.
That's good. It's good to have a project when you're out there.
I mean, the beads, like, right now I'm at a point where I'm just like, as little throws I come home with as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Except for, the throws you can use, which we can talk about later.
Okay.
It was a good year for those. Everybody should move into less beads and more throws you can use.
Right. So, like, that's another thing that's happening lately is everyone's talking about... I'm of two minds about it. Like, I like the excess of Mardi Gras. Like, I like the fact that we're making a lot of trash and we're just making a big mess and everything is just out the box. So... like part of me, and this is just part of me, like being nostalgic about it a little bit now, but like I kind of feel like at the end of Mardi Gras, like, or after a parade, if the whole street doesn't look totally wrecked, it's almost like nothing happened.
Like there was a party just blew through here.
Right. So there needs to be that somehow.
Also, the one in defense of beads, I have to say they're fun to catch. Like there's nothing better than catching the beads. And a good catch, too. Mm-hmm. Like one that you leap for and you get. After that, though, I generally find a little kid's bag to put it into, or I give it to a little kid.
Yeah.
I will say, though, that the trend of, like, bigger and bigger beads, like, the big old ones actually hurt to catch them. Like, your hand is stinging. And at that point, it's like, what am I even doing this for?
If you catch them.
They're not useful for craft projects either. Like, I like to keep some of the really small ones because they're great for, like, beading stuff later.
They make better bead dogs.
Yeah, they make better, they bedazzle jackets better, like all sorts of stuff. But those big ones, it's like, everyone wants the big one or the long ones or whatever, but, like, they're hard, they hurt to catch and you can't do anything with them. So I think they're actually the most useless ones.
If you don't get beamed in the face with it, too.
Or if they don't, like, get them in your drink or
I heard a lady
knock your sandwich out of your hand.
A lady got her wig ripped off by one I saw on Twitter.
Yeah.
That would have been funny. That would have been a 5 on the did I have a good time scale. It's like I saw a lady's wig ripped off by a bead. Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, beads are like... I feel like they're necessary, like they need to be present, but I don't feel like I'm going after them a lot. Like I'll take a couple of them and put them on, but like
maybe at the end of every parade, there could be a baby Kong like caboose fucking thing, where if you don't want your fucking beads, you can toss it back into that goddamn thing.
That's a thought.
Well, they're starting to do that now. So like after Toth. The bead recycling truck went by and everybody threw the beads that they didn't want onto the truck.
Well, so that's something that's helping a lot. Like, not only do they have floats that come by that collect recycling beads, but you can bring your beads to a lot of different places around town now. You can bring them to St. Michael's School. You can bring them to like a lot of
the libraries.
The libraries and some of the banks and other places in the area have those ARC bins. So,
and then hopefully everyone will just throw the same beads every year over and over again.
Well, I know that, we bring them back. I bring a lot of them back to the bins at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And, when we ride, we buy a lot of them from St. Michael's. So, I feel like if we're doing it, then probably a lot of people are doing it. I feel like they're getting around. So that's probably really helpful.
I think the other thing, though, is that the crews should give riders the option of purchasing packages that don't have beads in them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they have to buy them and they're like, I'd really rather not, but here we go. And if you're on a float and you'd rather like make, a few hundred homemade throws or just throw like the branded merch or whatever, like the useful throws, or throw food or moon pies or whatever, you don't even have that option because you have to buy all these beads.
Yeah, I didn't know that crews were doing that, but there's also like, beads are good to have as just filler.
Yeah.
To like throw from the float, but people really want like the fun stuff. Like they want like you were saying, like the food or the footballs are fun, or something. If you're creative and you make something that nobody else has, that's kind of a neat thing to have. I wanted to.
The noises coming out of this dog. They're unbelievable.
I'm telling you, man.
Just like
Doris is gross.
Constant
Doris.
wheezing and just farting,
She
squirting.
She is fucking gross.
Wow.
I've never loved something so gross. And she honks.
And she doesn't settle
crosses.
down either. Like,
No, she doesn't.
Yeah.
She's on steroids, dude.
She's pacing the room,
She's
Yeah.
wheezing, coughing, barking, and farting, and it's just.
So my dog has COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, and her medicine that she has to use is steroidal, and it keeps her amped up all the fucking time, and it also makes her bloated, so she's gassy and farts a lot, and then she has a honking cough. But still cute as fuck.
You're cute as fuck, you farting dog.
Yeah, and then also she just ate, so she's having audible stomach noises as well. But she don't give a fuck.
Yeah, to finish the little thing about the throws, I wanted to show you all these hatchets that I got from Choctaw, from Chris Wiseman.
He rode in Choctaw?
Yeah, and he made these. They have these signature hatchets or tomahawks, I guess. But he's painted them black, and he's put FYYFF on them in honor of Ashley.
Still carrying that Ashley Morris torch, baby.
Or the tomahawk, as the case may be.
We still believe in you.
Torture-hawk. No, don't do that.
But that was pretty creative, I thought. I put that. I gave Choctaw creativity points for having caught the tomahawk.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so we were talking about throws.
Well, guy, I guess those are pretty fucking easy to get. Jesus Christ. One guy throws you an Ashley Morris tomahawk, and the whole parade gets creativity.
That's
points.
right. That's exactly how that works.
Gee, all right, we're starting to see some flaws in the system here. Sunday night, I caught the... I ended up drinking with some Cleopatra riders because it's West Bank, and then... cruised on home and got my sea legs about me, and then I was ready. I signed off on Mardi Gras that night.
And then I guess Nick's happened.
We moved right into Nick's. The weather forecast was crappity crap, but
It was all season.
it was.
Like
It was.
every night, it was like people were dodging either the cold or the rain.
Yeah, the weather. I got comments on the weather. It's stupid to complain about it,
Yeah.
and yet it's one thing that you can. It's like the weather is one thing you can get mad at, and it's cool because you're not getting mad at anything but just the general state of the universe. But it's also completely stupid to get mad at because it's the general state of the universe.
It's a factor though in Mardi Gras.
Parade enjoyment, for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it just like it's a. Are we worried about it that day? Is it part of like your psyche going in, or that kind of thing?
Did the Downman fire happen? We didn't talk about that last time.
We did, yeah.
Yeah,
We
we
talked
we
about it
did?
last time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember for both the first weekend parades and for Nick's and throughout every parade that I would go to by our house, dead house smell permeated throughout everything. I smelled it 3 blocks away. Just smelled like charred old wood.
You can still smell it over there a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
So where are we in the narrative here?
We're at Nick's.
Okay, so
We're
Nick's,
braving the weather. It rained a little bit. We got our ponchos out.
Some of my friends came.
Some of Allie's friends came.
Sherms was there.
There were some newcomers there. There was a lot of newcomers this year. What were they called?
Jordan and
Jordan
Galena.
and Galena were there.
And they were rookies. I call them rookies of the year. Early candidates. They showed up. They came to get down. They knew how to do it. I think they were going to do it well.
Yeah, there were a lot of Mardi Gras first timers this year that showed up at the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's always fun, because you get to explain everything to somebody.
Yeah, you get to show
Your
somebody.
favorite thing.
You show
Telling
Jeff.
somebody something.
That's right.
You be like, "Here's Jeff. This is what happens when you do what you're about to do 43 times." When all you've ever known is what's about to happen to you. So go through your Mardi Gras and imagine that just being your life the entire time.
There was a...
You might come up with a weird scale to judge every parade.
Well, I think as soon as you mentioned that to Sherm, she was like, "Oh my God, tell me more."
Yeah, no, Sherm's wanted to hear about it the whole time.
Yeah.
And she doesn't agree with any of the stuff in it.
That makes sense.
And continues to not understand or not agree with the things. So that's fun. I think we're still trying to explain it to her. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, one of my neighbors had visitors, also first timers, and so he was out at the parade, and I was standing near him and talking to him a little bit, but also I got to overhear him explain every little thing about Mardi Gras.
His first timers?
Yeah, to his people. Like, it was just everything about New Orleans and everything about the Mardi Gras and what it is. Like, just the things that you imagine somebody saying to people.
And did you agree?
Well, I thought, this is on the bingo board, this is a thing you will experience, is somebody explaining shit to people.
Okay.
And I could check that box.
I remember when I was trying to explain to Jordan and Galena that I started immediately with the Big Bang.
Yeah, you were doing it on purpose. Like,
Yeah.
you were like...
Well, no, it does matter.
No, it was great.
Because the way the solar system settled and the pivot that we go around the sun is how Easter and Christmas and solstices and all that fucking
it's
pagan
cosmic
shit came to pass, and it's how Mardi Gras came to pass.
Definitely.
So I didn't want to I wanted to start from scratch.
Sure.
And it made sense to me.
No, it's all cosmically designed. It's part of the the great cosmic ballet.
Oh, yeah.
So
Sagian.
So
it was Sagition, just like Allie's marriage to Pat. You got to include that kind of stuff in there, man.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Well, you were there, huh?
Yes.
You know all about it.
Yeah.
So check the video, y'all. But the pivot of the planet on its axis and its revolutions around the sun and the 24,000 year cycles, it all fucking matters.
Yes.
Just thought they should know that. I hope they appreciated that it goes on forever and ever. They seem to, by the way they continue to revel throughout the night.
Even after our star burns out, there will still be ways of, seeing in the alignments of the heavens when it should or should not have been carnival season, right? Like, even long after we're gone, the universe will still orient itself in specifically the way that would trigger the beginning of carnival. Like, you would still, if you knew where everything was, you would be able to read it in the stars.
Well, the aliens are going to know. But
right. It's important.
Anyways.
That'll be...
Anyways, Nick's was a good parade.
Right. It was.
The floats were good.
It's big as fuck.
Yeah.
It's
but I
ginormous.
They did a good job. It was better than last year.
I caught a purse. I caught a fanny pack, actually.
That was a good one.
I didn't get it honest. I don't know if we've explained that to them in the past, but you can either
almost certainly
catch a signature throw by your friend, which is still good, or you can just get one honest.
I don't think anything honest happens at Nick's because everybody knows everybody in the parade.
God, everyone knows everybody.
Everybody in the parade is somebody that everybody knows.
But also what I'm starting to think of is like, yeah, I got a friend who throws me a purse every year, but then I got 4 or 5 friends that I know in the parade that just throw me some good throws, but I don't get no fucking signature throw from. And I'm just like, what do I got to do? What? How have I not been a good enough friend to this person to deserve the signature throw?
See, now you're analyzing it a little too much.
Oh, there's no such thing. We just fucking went back to the Big Bang.
Right.
Well, you did.
Well, you went to China on some chairs and shit too. So, like, hey, let's not...
where they were made.
Yeah, but also how they contribute. Container ships were involved in your theory, and hey, it was a good one, and I'm with you on all that. But let's not. I don't need to be accused of thinking too much about it. So,
oh my God.
I just think that maybe Amanda Soprano could throw me a fucking purse one year.
That's what you're
she
saying.
She threw me one. one.
Yeah.
Allie got one. Did I get
Because
one?
every year she crafts me an insane purse as part of her own like way of like dealing with life. She's like, I'm just gonna glue literally everything to this purse and then I'm gonna throw it to Allie.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
I want something like that.
You want a therapy purse.
Yes, I definitely won't. From her. But
Yeah.
no, you've already got that in, so, I don't want
It was a...
to type your style.
She did get me a crazy one. It was like a big bag that was probably like a foot wide. And I did have to do some hot glue repairs to it because of the rain that had passed through. There was like that crazy line of storms that went through. So I had to do a little bit of repairs to the purse. But it's all good, and now it's up in my kitchen.
To be honest, I don't want her to feel bad. I didn't chase the float as well as I probably could have. It was all still muddy and everything, and I just was like, I'm going to let it go.
You got that dope fanny pack.
Yeah, I knew I had a fanny pack in the bag, so I was just like, I'm going to let it go.
Pun intended?
Pun unintended.
Wow, okay,
Wow.
great.
But Nick's was good. It's just so huge.
Jeff made jambalaya, which was delicious.
Wednesday is jambalaya night.
It was so good, especially the crusty part down near the bottom of the...
We
It's
make
always the best
we
part.
make parade food every night of every parade. Wednesday was jambalaya. Thursday was roast beef. And
and that was salty and garlicky and good.
Oh, yeah.
Friday was chili. And Saturday was leftovers. And then Sunday was spaghetti. And then Monday, Tuesday was red beans. So.
I'm starting to...
Cookies.
As I go through the Mardi Gras season, and I've done it a couple times in the past, and I have to do it every year now, is you make your big bowl. Even if you're not having to host a bunch of people like you are, Jeff, and thank you very much. Even if you're not hosting a bunch of people, you need to have a fucking big pot or pan of something in the fridge so you can come home and just heat it up and eat it.
Yeah.
So you don't got to find a fucking place or try and order a pizza. Or if you're going out, you get a base and eat it before you're doing it. It's just fucking crucial, man. Guys, please. Listen
Make
to
a
me.
pot of beans. It's not
First
that hard.
timers. Jordan and Galena. If you're listening.
No, but that's the other fun thing about it for us is that we get to like cook a bunch of stuff all week, and that's and it's stuff like you were describing, like it's things that are easily served to a lot of people, and also when there's leftovers, you can like reheat it easily.
Plastic utensils, plastic bowls.
Throw it in the microwave. Here's the thing about Nick's. This was the best Nick's ever. Did we all agree this was the best Nick's? I think we did.
I think so.
It
Yeah.
was fun.
It didn't end with just that freight train of floats that usually happen.
Yeah.
No,
Not as bad. anyways.
Not as bad, but it did happen a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. Like it didn't end the way Muses does. Like Muses does this thing where it builds to a certain kind of crescendo, and then after it starts to taper off a little bit. Like it just, but in a fun way. Like it breaks it down. Like you get a couple of like I don't know. They pace it really well. They're the best one at doing that. But what Nick's does is, because of the way Nick's is formed, it inevitably becomes a truck parade towards the end.
Right.
And-
right. The bigger ones do.
They do.
Yeah, Nick's does.
And so here's
43 floats, for fuck's sake.
here is the phenomenon we're dealing with now. Is Nick's is the pioneer in this regard, but also Iris has gotten in on this game now. What we're doing.
Biggest parade in Carnival.
Everybody remembers back in the 90s when Endymion and Bacchus and Orpheus were having this arms race to see who could build the biggest float.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, every couple of years, one of them would, here is the Leviathan. It is the largest float in Carnival by, like, 2 feet because of whatever they... Anyway, they were having...
Right.
Little
and
baby
then-
dragon at the back.
They were having a size matters argument among the three of them.
And the Pontchartrain Beach was the winner.
It still to this day, I believe, is the winner. But that has died down a little bit. And what now is the arms race is how many motherfuckers are in this parade?
How many riders you can stick on that motherfucker.
How like what is our ridership? So the point is that Nyx and Iris have opened up this new mode of measuring what a super crew is, and they're doing it by like opening to as many members as they possibly can, getting everybody's money, and just jamming them onto these big box floats.
Yep.
And is in increasingly
on Kern floats.
that. So what Iris did this year is they changed over to Kern.
Yep.
And Kern built for them a couple of nice floats, but they also provided them with a lot of their reusable giant double-decker floats.
Yes, with the children's cartoons theme or whatever.
That's right. Right. So their theme,
Which is stupid.
Their theme this year
The
was
themes were stupid.
yeah, right. But because Iris went with those kind of generic Kern floats that were like, I think this was something that you brought up with regard to Chewbacca's, with how it's Mardi Gras, but like all of this corporate intellectual property.
Yeah.
A lot of these Iris floats were that. They were like Garfield,
Scooby-Doo,
and these characters, which is not unheard of, but it became so common and repetitive because everyone was...
Because those floats were being used in multiple parades.
That's right. If your parade is doing that, then are you like a major event parade?
If you're using other people's floats, you get knocked off a couple of points on Jeff's list.
Bland as shit theme that isn't doing something unique or saying something new this year.
Okay, so the one thing about Nyx's themes is that they are... I don't want to say... I don't think they're bland. They're general.
Yeah, they're as vague as possible.
They are.
You remember what they were this year?
The letter P.
The letter P.
The letter
right?
P, right.
Yeah.
So, which is weird. Like if it was the letter N, I could see that because it starts with N. But what the fuck? Why was it P?
Because it starts with party, or party starts with P.
Okay,
or something like that.
So that seems a little just
Also
shoved.
Parade.
Yes,
it seems shoved in there. But then they explored each one of those things, so I don't really mind their theme that much. It being super. I don't even want to say bland, but with a lot of room for interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are they doing that so it's easier to get that many floats in there?
I think so because they.
Okay, well then fuck them.
And it's not only that they're jamming that many floats; it's that they're shoving as many riders as possible onto these big floats, and it makes it look like.
Because the riders pay dues and they can make money.
Right. Like,
Okay.
It feels like they're kind of ripping people off a little bit. And I don't, like... It's a weird thing to say, because I'm sure everyone who rides in the parade has a good time, but they may not be having as good a time as they could have if the parade were, like, limiting the number of riders and, like, okay, we're closing off membership this year because this is everybody we can accommodate. You know what I mean?
Okay, so then in recent years, we've got these new parades that are becoming super crews in the last 10 years, you want to say?
But they're not...
Muses kind of came up in the last
Muses
10 or
caps
15
their
years.
ridership for
Right.
sure.
So, I mean,
so then where do those people go? They go to
They're on the
Nyx
wait. They're on the wait. Yeah.
or now Iris. So Nyx is too big, now Iris is.
Yeah, and it's not so
are
much...
there a lot of ladies around with a lot of disposable income that want to take part in Mardi Gras all of a sudden?
I think it's less about disposable income and more that it's just really fun, and if all your friends are doing it, you want to ride in the parade too. I mean, I think like it's a fun like creative outlet. You get to do a headdress, you get to like make your throws, you get to do all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think it's just a nice fun thing to do for a lot of people. And it's the kind of thing that you can do by yourself or you can do, but it's a lot more fun to do socially, right? Like people who make shoes together, make purses together, or I mean, I love like crafting and stuff like that. So it makes sense to me that it's becoming more popular with women, especially because I feel like a lot of them were shut out of it for a long time. You know, I mean, Muses isn't really that old.
Iris, on the other hand, is very
Iris is, yeah. But it was much smaller for so long.
It
right?
was. That's true.
So somebody scooped it up and retrieved it.
No, there was an article about this. The captain is the granddaughter of one of the longtime captains, and so
Right.
she's been pushing Iris into the future a little bit.
That's right, and so
And she's like in her 40s, I think, the current captain.
And that's on when? The Saturday?
it's on the
Big Saturday.
Oh, jeez. I'll never see it.
But the weird thing about
I
it,
did see it this year. Our friend Val was in it.
Oh, she made the switch.
She switched from Nyx to Iris.
Ooh.
because now they're interchangeable
What do you mean?
because they do the same thing that Nyx does now. So you could
They cram a bunch of people on a bunch of floats?
exactly.
With a crappy theme?
Yes,
What was their theme this year?
through the eyes of a child or something like
This
that.
motherfucker remembers
Yeah, so
every
it was
parade's
something-
theme
Yeah,
through the eyes of a child. That's better than the letter P, though.
but it was the same floats.
Oh. Jesus. Well, then fuck all those.
I don't think they were the same floats as Nyx, but they were the same floats as like Zulu and some other floats or some other parades that share Ferret. Sometimes on the front you can see the paper that says it has it written in like code, and it'll be like this float is in like 4 different ones, and it's
Oh,
always
really?
in Comic Sans, which always cracks me up.
So wait, if you know what to look for, you can say there's a little...
There's usually
it-
like a little piece of paper on the front of the floats that says this float's going to be in.
It'll be like number 30 in Zulu. It'll be number 5 in
It's for
Ferret.
us or it's for them?
No, it's for them.
to
So
organize their shit.
you're through the looking glass when you're seeing this thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're cracking the code.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then some of them don't have them at all. Muses
Right.
floats are Muses floats, and that shit is that.
Yes.
Okay, what
Well-
about Rex? They reuse floats?
Well, Rex has a lot of its own. They own their own floats.
Okay.
But they also changed designers this year.
Or no, this is the last year.
This is their last year that
They're
with
going to change to
Royal Artists next year.
yeah.
They've been Kern forever,
Oh, jeez.
but Kern, because it's Rex. Rex owns their own floats. Kern it brings in Henri Schindler to do their art design. They do a different thing, and Rex is always going to look different. Basically, it's
so
and
they're one of those.
yes.
Zulu.
Zulu uses the same floats as a lot of they used a lot of the Tux floats.
So they're
Which-
not
which
all
is-
original floats.
No, they're not. Except for the fact that they do have their own style and their own signature things. You have the Zulu characters like the Big Shot and the Mayor and all that stuff. So Zulu, I
You
don't.
got to know what to look for, but if you look hard enough, they're using some of the old floats.
Oh yeah, it's easy to see because if you've seen Tux has this distinctive style of they have the little friar on every float, and he's there's word bubbles and he's saying shit,
Okay.
and you go to watch Zulu and there's that little friar on the float again saying
okay.
shit. Yeah,
So
it's the same floats.
They're out as far as all original floats.
I think Zulu's a special case because they're Zulu.
All
But
right, fuck all that.
yeah.
Toth.
But we got. I think we got sidetracked
Oh,
because we were
sorry.
trying to go through.
I could go on and on that. So Muses, go on to Muses. I did not like their floats this year.
Oh yeah.
No, I thought they were kind of plain. I know last year when they did the works of art and they had abandoned the comic strips kind of style that they had done for many years, which, I was always still good with. But then when I saw that they were moving away from it, and I saw that they had made those works of art, every float was a work of art and themed as such, I thought was well, fuck yeah, if you're going to do this, definitely. And then this year it seemed like the floats didn't stand out much to me at all. I can't remember them.
I agree that they were not as good as last year, because last year was just sublime. It's one of the best themes they've ever done. It was awesome. This year was the Muses musical, so it was all political puns that were vaguely musical themed. So they did one that was Stormilton. So it was a Stormy Daniels float, but it was made to look like Hamilton. Or I thought they were pretty good.
I thought they were very clever.
Clever and interesting, but not as beautiful as they were last year.
Yeah, it was a step down from last year, but maybe a step up from previous years.
I think that's fair compared to last year because you're right. They were special last year. But I also thought they were pretty clever. I thought the theme was funny, and they made a couple little funny jokes. And they didn't have... I don't think they had a lot of the stuff written on the floats that they normally have.
Yeah, maybe that's what took away from my experience.
But I'm looking at some of the pictures right now, and yachts for cats. There was... There were a lot of good stuff in there. So I don't think I wasn't disappointed in that at all.
Oh, Where'd You Go to High School musical? That was a good one.
That was good.
I do want to mention about Nick's. They had 2 throws that were really amazing. One, they threw out a deck of cards, and when you open them up, instead of the if it was a 3 of diamonds, they had little purses there and whatever. So the cards were themed, and they also threw out a little soap ball, those fuzzy bubbling ones.
Oh, like a bath bomb?
Yeah, that you drop in and it's like active and shit.
Yeah.
They threw one of those out. I came home. I got in the bath. I took it. I was already being like, this was a fucking awesome throw. Because you can't often bathe in your throws. You can bathe in beads, I guess, but really.
Dive into them like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah. Yeah, and just kind of, look at all my beads and shit. And then after the thing completely dissolved, a little plastic thing floated up that I was not expecting. Saw it there in the bath with me, opened it up, and it had some life-affirming quote in it also. That was covered in wax, so it would still be readable in the water. Very thoughtful, Crew of Nicks. Thank you. Sorry. But Crew of Muses also had so many throws you can use.
They did.
So many.
I caught a couple different scarves that are sewed together, so it's actually called a buff or something, where it's you can wear it 12 different ways. You can wear it as a scarf, or as a baklava, or as a or balaclava, or whatever, or as a put it up over your face, one of those things. So that was great.
Holy shit! I wish I had one of those.
I had my best shoe parade, I think, in a long time. I caught one from Nola Maven on Twitter. Thank you. I caught one.
Second year in a row?
No, I didn't catch one from her last year.
Oh, you made the sign for her and you didn't catch one?
Yeah.
Wow.
I caught one from someone else on her float, which was one of the best shoes I've ever seen in my life. It was amazing.
Holy crap.
I caught one from my friend Emily, who was in the Priscillas with the... and I had to fight a lady for it because
sometimes you got to do it.
Oof, man. And I felt bad, but on the other hand, I also gave a couple away, right? I caught one from someone else and I gave it to Galena, and then the sign worked. It's magic.
So Allie
a couple times, and but the shoe didn't come directly to me, and I didn't fight other people for it. I said, "Go ahead, you can have it," and then I said to the rider, "It's okay. I'm good. We're good."
To be clear, you brought the same sign this year that you brought last year.
I did.
And it worked again.
It worked
just
again.
as well.
I'll probably bring it again next year.
Bring it until it falls the fuck apart.
Until it stops working, yeah. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of the sign. It says, "I've got space for shoes," and it has a little Muses astronaut in red stiletto heels.
I think also...
and Varg doesn't like it because he doesn't think it's clever enough.
No, I don't think it's clever at all. Not even enough.
And he's wrong, to be clear.
I mean, obviously I'm wrong. I'm on the outside looking in.
It's as clever as it needs to be.
Viability.
It does the job.
Fuck it. That's all it needs to do. I mean,
that's fine.
He was staring at me like, I don't get it. I don't get what space has to do with Muses.
It's true. It's never been explained to me, but it doesn't fucking matter because the goddamn thing works.
It's a pun.
I know. No. I'm not going to have the same conversation with you on this podcast that we have had for 2 years on the fucking parade route.
I'm going to have this conversation with you until
you win, okay? You don't get the shoes and for me to be like, yeah, you're right. It's totally cool.
So it doesn't matter how many shoes you get. It's not gonna. It's gonna make it worse. Actually,
no. The fucking thing works. I got you on that. That sign is badass as far as getting shoes goes.
Right.
Whether it's you're not gonna get me to say it works and it's clever as fuck.
It It's not clever as fuck, but it's pretty clever.
It's clever enough. It's fine.
It's as clever
The
as
clever one didn't get any shoes.
So, okay, wait, good. I'm glad you brought this up. So, Jessica, Sweet Babette Jessica, and she had a friend with her.
At Ignatius Nipple.
Who I believe was also her first Mardi Gras this year?
Yes.
Okay,
it was her
so
first
again,
one.
another first Mardi Gras person.
all these newbies.
Showed up at this parade, and I think she probably got a lot of stuff explained to by me because I was drunk as fuck. Her sign said, what?
Validate me.
Validate me.
It was fucking
And you
awesome.
thought that was clever.
I thought it was
More clever than
transcendently
Allie's.
clever.
Allie's had artwork and all kind of stuff going on it. Like it was... It just said validate
What,
me.
do you want me to go back into my shed and make a fucking badass stacked laugh heart and bring it up there and
Well, I
say,
think the difference
throw
is...
me a shoe? I mean,
Well, here, look, I actually have a photograph of this. There's Pat holding it.
Pat with fucking... Like he's needing some validation in that picture.
It's a clever... It's clever as far as, like, words go.
It was Twitter clever.
Yeah, but it's not...
Snarky clever.
Yeah, it's irony, bro. Clever.
Well, it was a girl, it was a lady who was saying it. I loved it. And the Muses fucking hated it.
They didn't... Muses is not really an irony bro parade, is it? It's more
Oh,
of
it's fine if they're the ones pitching the irony.
Well, it's hard to do irony that quickly.
Yeah.
You don't have very much time to communicate with these people while they're going by.
As soon as she pulled it out, I was like, oh my God.
There's another scale of parades that we're not using tonight, but it's like the political scale of the parades where you can start with like the MAGA parades, which would be like chaos, and then you move over to like
Chaos, which did not roll, by the way. That's the other story from Muses Night, is that they canceled their parade.
They took their ball and went home.
Right. So, but we'll get to that in a second. But so like you move over to like Muses is straight down the line, like, you know, like liberals, right? And then Crew de Vue is more irony people.
Yeah.
But like, so that's why Muses wasn't going for the sign, I think, because they were just a little bit too Rachel Maddow, and not enough like.
The thing about the Validate Me sign that I loved so much is that it spoke to just how, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but cruel and almost materialistic the parades can be, especially as it relates to signature throws, and especially as it relates to that and Nick's and their signature throws. So you get a signature throw because you're a little kid. You get a signature throw because you're cute, or you get a signature throw because you were in the right place at the right time. You get a signature throw because you have a clever sign. You get a signature throw because you, most of the time, know somebody on the route, and that's a status thing. So these signature throws are fucking status, and if you don't get one, it's really hard to walk away without one that night without feeling at least a shred of, some disappointment. Or if you are a constantly invalidated person, that much more,
This is how you feel
disappointment.
now, though.
Well, no. Anytime I don't get a signature throw, I feel like, man, I'm not a complete failure, but you walk away with a little disappointment.
Feel like a complete failure.
Well, a lot of people are out there and they're doing it.
Yeah.
And then you see on social media afterwards, as you're sitting there without your signature throw, people like with their signature throws going, yeah. Sometimes they have 3, 4, or 5 of them, and you're like, this person has way more signature throws than I do. So it is a huge.
And you feel like you have not achieved something that evening.
I'm not speaking for just me.
Not for you.
This is this
isn't really you.
I'm speaking.
But it is for you. Okay.
I'm speaking for me and a vast amount of the parade goers out there, probably.
Okay. So how would you solve this? Like, would you just...
No, it's fine just the way it is.
Okay.
There's no reason to solve it.
All right, I thought
it's all good.
Very good.
Everybody doesn't earn a signature throw. But it is a validation when you get one.
I see.
No matter what. And the sign spoke to that, right? And Jeff, maybe for like when you're up there, you're probably not a typical float rider, but there is a invalidation when they look right at you. They have the throw you want in their hand, and they just go nope.
I can tell you two things about
They throw
that.
it right at the person next to you.
I can tell you two
It's
things.
an invalidation.
Two things I'll tell you. One, yes, they see you. It's not like they see you. That's not the problem. The second thing is, yeah, when I'm on the when I'm on the float, I'm thinking a lot about, okay,
Do you deserve...
no. I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't want to just throw to the pretty girls. Okay, well, I don't want to just throw to the cute
Which you're
kids.
probably...
But I want to make sure I throw something to the cute kid. Okay, wait, the cute kids are getting too much. Let's find a regular person.
Yeah.
Is there a regular person? Okay, got to make sure the regular person.
So
gets
if you're a regular person on Terpsichore, and while you happen to be thinking that regular person gets validated. If you're a regular person on
It's
Lee Circle,
random.
when you're like going, these kids got to get them, that regular person gets all fucked over.
That's right.
And I'm sure that makes perfect sense to me. But there's this fake construct going on throughout the whole fucking parade route because none of these things are really super valuable anyways.
No,
Except for
it's
that
a game.
soap ball that
It's a
fucking nicks through
stupid
me.
game, right?
yeah, it's this weird atmosphere that goes through that is mostly about validation and who you are or how you feel as a person and shit.
Well,
Like I've had people where their whole night, where after the parade, their night was, I had to cope with their mood because they didn't get a shoe. And I'm sure that has happened thousands of times, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I
usually
thought the sign was-
you grow out of that when you're like 12, though.
yeah,
You
and
know?
and mentally you do.
Yeah.
You know, your mind does,
Uh-huh.
but you got your soul don't.
Okay.
Your soul's still like, I want that motherfucker. Because when you get it, you still feel fucking awesome. You still be like, yeah, I totally just got a shoe. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are. It's like the Saints in the Super Bowl. You really wanted that Super
No,
Bowl, man.
it's still joy still exists, right?
Right. It's just a denied joy if you don't get one.
Yeah, it's not as heartbreaking though because like I don't know.
And then you start to think, what did
It's like what I keep telling myself about the NFC Championship. Like it's like no, it doesn't. It's not the end of the world. Even though I see it in my nightmares every day.
You could have got thrown a ring,
right?
But instead,
no,
they didn't.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, but it's a validation.
Right.
A stupid, irrational validation. It still exists, which is why the sign was funny to me.
What a great parade.
And not to them. Not to the muses, though.
What a great parade.
Anyway, we had a good time at Muses. Basically, what I'm saying. Just to be clear, Muses was finished 1 in the rankings according to the science system. It was the most fun. I enjoyed the floats, even though you guys weren't as.
I enjoyed them.
I thought they did all of the things that you would expect Muses to do. They also and I think I've hinted at this already. They stage a parade well. And I think that it's becoming a lost art almost. Like it's like there's something about just the rhythm of how a parade is supposed to develop and then like climax and then kind of like let you down a little bit. I mean, let you down easy and give you the right time to breathe and the right time to see something new and fun. For whatever reason, even if it's the stuff you've seen over and over, like if you've seen the 610 Stompers like 7,000 times this year, they come at the right time. And previous years. Right. But they're
always great.
They come at the right time in Muses, and they're usually more fired up for whatever reason. The Elvi are like part of like what you expect to see at Muses, and they come at the right time. And
coming on strong, too.
And they look big, and they look good. And then like Colossus shows up at the end when it starts to break down and kind of it feels like an event that like forms. Like there's a build up and then the big floats come and then everybody gets excited and then it starts to break down again into its little parts, but they're beautiful. And that's when like the Colossus art bikes come and then the some, so a few other little marching clubs come by, and it's great. Or the
You're
dead rock stars
subjected
come.
to an experience.
Right, it's exactly right. Like somebody
Who is the dead rock star they're going to feature? Who is the celebrity lookalike they're going to feature this year?
Right. But like somebody who is in charge of putting on that parade, they must know this because they do it better than everybody else does, and it has been the case for several years going, and that's
Who
all.
are you, organizer?
The
of
Muses
Muses?
captain.
The captain?
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and they keep adding new things. So, like, last year, it was the Goddessy float, which is, I think, one of the most beautiful floats in all of Carnival.
Definitely.
It's up there with the Leviathan for me in Orpheus. And it's just always amazing. So, like, even when they do new things, they're doing new things that are, like, like, top quality.
Yeah.
And, like, for the aesthetics, right? So, like, how many parades are, like, adding new stuff because they're beautiful? They're usually adding new things for, like, revenue or whatever, but not, like, just because they're beautiful. So, I love that parade. It's great.
Yeah, it can't. And there was a little bit of for like about 2 or 3 years ago, there was a little bit of hate on Muses that I just heard whispers of and people talking to me about it, and it has definitely faded. And everybody makes a point to do it. I think that might have been some of them new Mardi Gras people. I think they got tired of hearing about how great it was, and they were just like, I'm going to stop thinking it's great.
But the other thing we should say about that night is that we didn't miss chaos at all.
Nope.
And that's like something, if you want to think about like, what is Mardi Gras without these old line stodgy white supremacist groups?
Boy, it was great.
It was fine. Like, we didn't miss them. Comus hasn't paraded in like 30 years, and people don't miss them on the streets. Nobody misses that. And
Errol misses that.
Right. But chaos is, everybody knows chaos is actually Momus. And the reason that they decided to pull out is because they, the weather again, everybody had to go like an hour later. Therefore, they did not want to miss the Momus ball. So they had to pull out of the parade.
That was that night?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that was the reason. Because I did think it was weird that they just up and canceled.
Yep, they just didn't go. And so that shit's more important to them. And also, like, even though Chaos is one of the parades that they have the old chassis floats and they try to do political satire and jokes and shit, and people you're like, oh, well, let's see what they're doing this year. I didn't miss it. Didn't miss it at all. It was fine.
No, and they helped Muses get there a little bit quicker too. Oh, also that night, I thought the ferry was going to be was leaving at 11:45, but it actually left at 11:15, so I missed the last ferry over. And so, but as I was going down Chapatulas, I happened to end up right at the end, like after the bands turn off, and it's just the floats kind of coming, but they still have throws, so they're kind of throwing. And
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of Muses floats with Muses on them, and Elvi like figure eighting between them. Like I was riding towards it, and all the floats were coming, and I was on my bike, and it was just Muses floats and like drunk.
That's
Elvi
what they
and
sound
shit
like.
And it was just a beautiful little moment. It was another little Mardi Gras moment I had. And everyone was super tired, and you got to see kind of behind the scenes a little bit. It was beautiful. Caught an Uber home. Uber ride sharing programs got an F this Mardi Gras. They totally failed.
Ooh, I didn't even try that.
They sucked. Which I don't even want to open up the ball of wax that that's going to bring around. Like, we'll talk about that in another episode.
We got some issues to hit too, but I think we need to move on to what came after that. What came after
Thursday, Friday night? I skipped.
Friday night? You skipped.
No,
Friday
I
night?
drank at the Crown and Anchor. I had another Mardi Gras moment. I'm not going to get into it.
You don't want to talk
it
about
was funny as hell. It was just a private thing. It has,
Okay.
It has no greater influence, but a friend of mine had a split-second decision whether she was going to stop her bike or just go straight over a flight of stairs. And
she decided to go over the stairs?
Just went straight over a flight of stairs and nailed it on a 10-speed. As a ferry crowd whose night was beginning, the first thing they see is a lady just on a 10-speed shoot over a flight of stairs, nail it. And then, like, I was behind her and I just heard, like, the ferry, people get off the ferry clapping and cheering and stuff. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then they told me what had happened. And I was like, oh, well, that's their first experience tonight. Is that they saw a little 100-pound lady clear the fucking stairs at the aquarium as she's getting on the ferry.
Fun.
Beautiful Mardi Gras moment.
Did y'all do anything Friday night?
No, we stayed home and we watched the LSU Georgia gymnastics meet on television, which was great. LSU kicked their ass. It was awesome.
Is that are they in some kind of they go? Well, I don't even know how the gymnastics schedule works.
So they're the SEC championships will be at the Smoothie King Center on the 23rd.
Oh, so soon.
And that'll be a meet, and then they'll go to regionals and then nationals. Okay. So yeah, but LSU is ranked number 3 or 4 in the country, so they're very good, and they keep getting better going into the postseason.
They're usually pretty good. Yeah, that's
yeah. They've been national runner-up twice in the last 3 years, so they're very good. We can maybe pull it off this year. We'll see. So yeah, we stayed home. We usually skip Friday night. Yeah, I mean, you can tell us about the parades if you want. What was it, Hermes and Sleepy Morpheus, right?
Yeah, so we saw Hermes and...
No, there's another one then.
And Creux d'Etat.
Oh, and d'Etat, yeah.
D'Etat was actually pretty good. Where did I rank them? They ranked a 9. I'm trying to remember what they were Dr. d'Etat. So they did a lot of, like, you know, things were like medical floats or like things.
Tux did the same thing.
They did, right. Tux and d'Etat both had floats that were puns on medical conditions. And anyway, some of it was funny. There's a difference between Creux d'Etat and Chaos.
Yes.
And they're both what you expect to be like the conservative humor, but there's something about d'Etat that is A, more clever, and B, also
not as cruel,
not as mean and mean-spirited, right? So they do some things that are pretty good. So okay. And also it's a good-looking parade. Like they have their own aesthetic. Like they've got.
I've seen it before, and like I used to go see it when I lived uptown, and I remember when they added the banana wagon. I was like, this is pretty cool. But I also remember Creux d'Etat not throwing shit. Like it was really hard to get any kind of throws out of that parade. I don't know if it's still like that.
I think that, I mean, they don't throw heavy, but they often throw like a lot of like blinky things with their little skulls on them, and the skull stuff looks pretty cool. They're usually led by the skeleton crew in the first place.
Those are awesome, and
they pass out the bulletins to everybody, and they have they have this aesthetic with the. Their ruler is the dictator, and then they have that boat that crashed last year, and they have the candy wagon and the banana wagon, and
they got their own personality.
They do. It's a good parade, and every now and then they'll say something really obnoxious about whatever, but because I can't remember the jokes this year, but some of them. Oh, I know what it was. So one of them, for example, was the DNA test because they were riffing on. Elizabeth Warren's, genetics test. But so you would think, okay, this is going to be bad, but like some of it was actually like kind of funny. There was Trump is like 49% popular vote and 51% narcissist or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Ogeron was 100% coon ass. So they were kind of lighthearted. and then they would do something that infuriates you every now and then.
Yeah.
But that's to be expected. You're not going to like everything. So that was fun. And then Morpheus comes after them. And the thing about Morpheus is that it's the end of Friday night. And I've thought about this for a long time because they're not trying very hard. And that's kind of okay because you've already seen 2 really pretty parades. Like Hermes is a gorgeous parade and Creditas is a really cool parade to watch. And because there's a 3rd parade on Friday night, it's Friday night and people are drunk already.
Yeah, you're just out there, so you might as well watch another one.
That's what it is.
Maybe
that's
they should just
right.
bump. Are they the biggest one? Like, why do they get the headliner slot?
Well, it's not a headliner slot because it's the point in the evening where like it's past prime time.
Yeah,
now.
people with kids have gone home.
Right.
But a lot of parades are like that. Maybe the people with kids are gone home because everyone knows Morpheus kind of sucks.
That's not why. I mean, it's really is later in the evening and everybody's kind of...
They start later?
Yeah.
They start later than any parade.
No, but they're the last parade that night, and there have been 2 big parades before it. And so
they're the smallest parade.
They're not necessarily the smallest, but they're the latest one.
Well, so are all the rest of them.
No, it's
all
later.
the late. Your headliner goes late.
You usually
your last.
It's a denouement parade.
Right.
Fuck
it's
that.
a wind down parade.
Why on Friday night do they suddenly have a wind down parade? Makes no sense. Fuck that parade. You're trying to defend them. They need to be bumped. They need to run first and then run Hermes.
I think it would probably be better if you put them like on like Tuesday night. Or
something. Here comes Jeff's rearrange everything theories.
But as it is, like
fantasy book and Mardi Gras, Jeff.
The mood.
Everyone goes back to their neighborhoods.
Guys, we don't have time for all of that.
Right.
We gotta get through this.
Right.
Sorry.
So the point is, the mood at that point on Friday is everybody's loose. They've seen everything they want to see, and it's like Allie just said a little while ago. It's like everybody let's watch another parade. And what the fuck? Ryan Sparks came and watched the parade with us that night.
Oh, fun!
And what I remember about this is that at the end of the parade, he just danced behind the parade off into the night.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, he was telling me the whole time.
He was feeling it.
The whole time he's like, I just walked all the way up here. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to get home. I don't know. Like, I'm way far because he lives in the Marigny.
Yeah, he's been tripping the light fantastic lately.
Yeah, and so, like, at the end of the parade, like, there's like a little band at the end of the parade, and he just, like, danced off, skipping behind the thing.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, there goes Ryan. And so,
what an adventure!
I'm wondering how he's gonna get home. Is he's okay? So like later that night, you look on Twitter and like Ryan's taking pictures of his like walk home. He's like, I'm on Bourbon Street, and then
so you social media tracked him,
right? And then he went home. Right, so he just made his little way home after that. It was adorable.
That is a nice little benefit of social media. You can check on your friends when you need to.
Yeah.
Are they okay tonight? Oh yeah, there they are.
Right.
They're watching The Americans. All is good in their world.
Oh, Allie's fine. She's tweeting about SEC gymnastics.
Yep.
Again.
See, she's doing her thing.
Yep.
Let's move on.
All right. So Saturday, usually we do the big Endymion party. This year we were like, nope, fuck that. We're not doing it. Our house is finally put back together for the first time in a couple months. We're not letting anybody in here. So we're going to go uptown and do the uptown parades. And we had not, I don't think I've seen Iris or Tux in like 12 years. So we rode our bikes downtown because DSA had a group watch for Iris and Tux, which was great. So we went up there. And we rode our bikes down. We took the Greenway, and then we took Barone Street, which is like a protected lane. We'll talk about bike lanes later another time, because they've been another topic lately. But it was great because it was almost the whole time we were riding, we had like a lane to ourselves, and we got down very efficiently. And Iris was interesting. I didn't think it was like spectacular, and I was really there just to like hang out with people. I wasn't really like paying a super close attention to the floats or anything because they were like cartoon floats like we talked about.
And I noticed that, and I also felt like I was moving around a lot at that point of the day too.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I watched Irish that closely.
I definitely did not. I wasn't even trying to catch anything. I saw our friend Val, like I mentioned before. We had some vegan food at the DSA parade, and it was nice. We had a really like chill time, and Tux was cool. I kind of hadn't seen that in a while, but it was kind of fun to watch all the toilet paper flying around and everything.
Tux is one of my favorite parades, and the thing about it is that I always forget how good it is until it's there, because it's tucked away in that. I didn't mean to do that, but it's tucked away in that slot, like on Saturday, where like you're trying to get through Saturday, and all of a sudden there's this other parade that you forgot was this good.
Yeah,
like they do they have dragons. And they have the Star Wars people, and they have a lot of weird shit.
Yeah.
And they also have a sense of humor.
They were funny.
Yeah. They had a float that was about police confiscating stuff from people.
Yeah, they had like a civil asset forfeiture float.
Right. So it was pretty good.
I'm trying to remember if there were some other ones. I'm looking at my photos, but I don't know that I took very many.
But the other thing about them is that we talked about recyclable throws earlier, and the Tux toilet paper is like a great example of like why you don't need 1,000 beads necessarily to make the parade route look like a parade happened there and still have something nice.
They kind of borrow from your ticker tape.
A little bit.
An aesthetic kind of gets borrowed from it.
A little bit of that.
Pat was wearing a Georgia hat at the parade, and then someone who clearly went to UGA did throw him Jowly Dog UGA Bulldog beads. So that was fun. When Pat wears a Georgia hat at the parades and people can see it, when riders can see it, he does get thrown stuff. He'll be like, even like ladies and muses or whatever, they'll be like, Georgia! And they'll throw him shit. Like, it's a fun thing to watch. There are a lot of people who went to Georgia who ride in parades.
Maybe that's how I can get validated. Just wear something that has I don't know, something on it. A Muse's hat or something.
Yeah.
Something. Or
well, no, LSU is a winner. LSU is a winner every time. It doesn't matter how, even though it blends into everything, for whatever reason, there's people will think that it's the most clever thing you've done is to wear your LSU shit.
Go Tigers!
Right. So
it does work. And then we ended up watching Endymion anyway because we went back. Jordan and Galena lived by the route, and they were at the DSA thing, so we all biked back to their house and we watched it. They live kind of by the VA hospital.
Yeah, good.
So we watched it a little further up the route than we usually do. And it was, it's Endymion. It's always like there's great music, the bands are amazing, and the floats are like way over the top. But the nice thing about watching it down there is that it was people from the neighborhood, so it was a nice change of pace. Although there were so many people who were still trying to drive around the Endymion parade, even like as it was rolling, you had people like trying to drive on Galvez or whatever.
Oh,
like,
God,
why?
It sounds like a nightmare.
Or like just like parked on the side street, like up Cleveland or Palmyra, like in the middle of the street, just sitting there because there's nowhere for them to go. It's like, this is insane. You cannot do this. But other than me, like, yelling at them. And then I rode my bike home right about the time that the crash happened. But luckily, I was on Banks and not Esplanade, so...
Right, so
felt very lucky.
Yeah, the crash happened on Esplanade.
Yeah.
So it wasn't on the parade route like it was a couple years ago.
No, it was people who were going home from the parade, though.
Yeah.
It was that post-parade gridlock that happens every time. I mean, I don't know that we need to talk about it right now necessarily, but
okay.
But yeah, it was just that I was biking all day that day, so it was kind of like, ooh, wow, feeling very vulnerable. But I only got a beer thrown on me. That was the worst thing.
What did you do to them?
They were walking in the bike lane, and I was just trying to go home. So
someone deliberately threw a beer on you.
No, they kind of like jostled me and spilled it.
Oh, I was about to say. I'm sure you did something.
I did get yelled. Oh no, that was on Mardi Gras Day. Somebody screamed at me and called me a bitch.
Yikes!
that was a different thing. They were like, because I wouldn't high five them. I was like, excuse me?
No. Fuck.
No. And they
Fuck
like
a high five.
And he like turned around, like I was walking past him. I was by myself. I was trying to catch up after a bathroom stop. And I guess I'm cutting ahead here a little bit in our timeline. But yeah, I was walking towards Decatur Street on like Barracks or something. And it was this group of bros who were clearly there for a bachelor party.
A jock flock?
I love it. A jock flock. And they were like, they looked at my headpiece and they were like, whoa, cool. And they like try to high five me. And I was just like, kind of like, no, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
And I kept walking. And the guy like turns around and screams at me. He's like, you fucking bitch. And I was like, you know, I don't need this. I don't need this in
Nobody
my
needs
life.
that in their life.
And also, like, wow, thank you for validating my decision to not interact with you at all.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that and the fighting with the racist lady on Muse's night. Those were the 3 worst incidents.
I don't remember all that now.
It might have been before you got there. There was a fight on the parade route between a lady who turns out was staying at an Airbnb down the street from Jeff and another lady who had shown up. They both basically arrived at the same time, but one was feeling like her, her God-given right to stand there had been infringed upon, and they really got into it, and it was ugly, and
It took like 20 or 30 minutes for everybody to
people
calm
had
down.
To get in there and separate them and make sure that everybody was okay. So,
Jesus.
Well, or that one lady in particular was okay, because the white lady who started the fight was like completely at fault. And it was very obvious.
They did eventually cool down and stay. They both stayed.
Yeah.
So that was...
No, it's one of those parade route stupid
Kind
invalidation. Somebody felt disrespected, and
it was kind of like that, yeah. But it was also like... It's one... Like, people shouldn't be so territorial, and that's what that kind of thing leads to.
Yeah, indeed.
The racist white lady was wearing a Betty Boop jacket, which cracked me up to no end. Yeah. And then, as it turns out, she was staying down the street from Jeff in what is, I'm certain, an Airbnb.
I mean, everything over there is now.
And they had all these beads on their fence, and one of them said, "Crew of adorable deplorables." I took a photo of it. It had the a little jester guy with a Trump haircut.
Oh, they had these printed up. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's Trump looking kind of like Dennis the Menace, like with his I don't know, swooping pompadour hair, but also like in a jester outfit with a mask. And they put some effort into that.
Yeah. And so there was one of those hanging by the fence.
So that must have been the same girl. You put 2 and 2 together and were like, okay.
Well, I saw her walk out of that house later, because I was actually still laughing at how terrible she was, and I was making fun of her Betty Boop jacket, and then she was standing right there in front. And Pat was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I gotta get a picture of this bead."
You could have just grabbed the bead and took off with it, you know?
Yeah, I guess I could have. But then they might have, chased me down, you know? You never know what those people...
Then, hey... You
never know
stand your ground. After that, you just stand your ground and just shoot her.
You never know what the chuds are going to do. So Saturday was interesting. And then what we decided that we want to do next year for Endymion is just get a booth in the Canal Street Waffle House and just eat waffles the entire time and watch the parade through the Waffle House window.
Can you pull that off? Like, how would you...
Nobody steal my idea. Pat and I are doing it. We are going to eat waffles and drink coffee.
You might have
watch
to...
Endymion.
You can do a lot in a Waffle House.
But no, you have to plan this. You have to get there early.
No, you just get there and then you wait for a booth to open up.
Because eventually everybody wants to be out at the parade. Oh. We want to be in the booth during the parade.
Okay.
And watch through the windows.
And eat waffles.
And maybe slip
a little whiskey in there and have it with your coffee. That'd be good too.
Okay.
Shit, I might join you for that.
All right. I was wondering if you could.
We might record a podcast from the Waffle House. So look for that next year.
Make sure you tip your waitress, and you're good to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
$220 a piece. That should be good. She'll let you kick it there for 2 hours for $40.
Oh, we would tip like Pashas. Absolutely. That's the best part. Is you get to like your bill is like $15 and you're like, and here's $75 for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I caught a couple of minutes of Endymion this year.
Oh yeah, on your way back to your house.
Yeah, well, I got out the house to do a grocery run, and because I have the bike, I can just go down to Lee Circle, and
Former Lee Circle.
Is it? Does it not still say Lee Circle on the?
Yeah, but Lee ain't there no more.
Right.
So we don't have to call it that.
We don't have to.
You can call it what Pat also does that with Jeff Davis. He calls it something else.
He calls
as
it
well.
the Parkway.
The Parkway.
Okay. Anyway, so I was there, and I got to pull the bike up and wait a couple minutes and watch the beginning of Endymion from like 30 rows back, like beyond like 2 sets of barricades or whatever. But the important thing is that I saw it, you know.
You marked it off the list.
I'm like,
Yeah.
there it is.
You caught a glimpse.
There's a float that has a lot of like flashing lights and blinky shit and some video screens on it, and yep, that sure is Endymion. And then I got on the bike and went to the Romart, and that was
Priorities.
that's what happened that night.
So you made it. Oh, you made it to Lee Circle, or former Lee Circle.
Yes.
That's where you saw it. I didn't even know they went there. Damn.
Yeah, I mean you can do that. It's just that you don't.
It goes down Canal and then it turns and then comes all the way to Lee Circle.
Yeah, it comes all the way up to the Circle, and then it goes up Howard Avenue and goes to makes its way back into the Superdome that way.
Ah, okay. I forgot about the Superdome part.
I watched it from that part of Howard Avenue the first year I lived here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the very tail end of the route, and so all those riders are just like heaving bags over the side of the float, and it was actually miserable.
Yeah, so that's what happens, and I mean I don't know how much time we have to talk about Sunday, but
Let's do Sunday real quick.
Okay, so
Wait, I haven't even done my Saturday though.
Oh,
okay.
shit.
All right.
Oh Jesus!
Oh God.
I'll be verbose as well. It started. I woke up in a daze from Friday night. No, Saturday's my costuming day. This year I had it all. We're gonna put some things together real quick. The good thing about this Saturday this year is, first of all, I never go to Endymion. That's a tradition. In fact, Friday night and Saturday night at Mardi Gras, I don't do shit, basically. I maybe do a private thing on Friday, and then I don't do anything on Saturday, which is exactly what happened again this year. I made spaghetti. And but what's different about this year is that I'm on 325 Diana Street, and 2 houses down, New Orleans' most talked of club goes by.
Oh shit.
The last neighborhood parade of Mardi Gras, basically.
yeah,
You know, Nom Talk, they went by. So Tisha, my girlfriend, and I sat around on, what is she doing? I sat on the porch and watched Nom Talk from the porch. Just watched the parade from our front porch, and it was awesome.
like
the bands.
did no waffles.
Nope, it was like we were at Waffle House, except it wasn't Endymion, and we weren't at
Right.
Waffle House. They had badass bands. We got to see Landry Walker on their home turf. They go right by their own fucking school.
That's got to be great.
That's got to feel good for them. And then we just kind of visited with everybody, hung out, watched everybody go by, and then we slipped off to Tower Beauty Supply, which is, I'm not trying to, well, maybe now that the wig store, the beauty store on St. Claude is closed, Tower Beauty's going to get some hipsters driving over the West Bank.
Don't tell them about it.
I'm trying. Hey,
Yeah.
y'all don't listen to this. There's a place over here on the West Bank where you can get badass wigs and dresses and tights and leggings and all kinds of shit like that.
I've seen you post about it.
We
before.
slipped off
Yeah.
to that, Tisha and I. And then we came back over here and played cards and just laid low and got ready for Sunday,
That's good.
which was a fucking disaster.
All right, let's do Sunday. We have to.
We'll do let's take it up to Fat Tuesday, and then we're gonna do another episode of just Fat Tuesday.
Okay.
Because Monday ain't.
Okay, and then there's some other controversies we can talk about in the other episode. That'll be good.
Okay, so
Eating stuff over there?
maybe
Doris is tearing the house apart.
She is trying to jump up. She is she's roided out. I did give her medicine just a little bit ago.
Doris is freaking out.
So Sunday, all I have to say is trash tornado. I've never seen one. I may be on the internet, but I looked down St. Charles, and when that front was coming through, I had already seen you. I looked down St. Charles, and maybe because of the streamers in the air from Tux and all the trash, because y'all had just recently rolled through, I saw a trash tornado. I was dressed for the 80-degree weather in which I set out, and not dressed for the wet 60-degree weather that came after the monsoon that rolled through.
So let's recall the circumstances here. So this was the day after all the season of dodging the weather and worrying about the weather and
doing well.
And doing pretty well considering. This was the day that it was supposed to be the disaster day. And Doris is farting again.
And just wild, too.
And just like chewing on random metal things.
She is.
I'm worried about her. Is she going to eat something and then have to have like gastric bypass or whatever?
Maybe. She's 15. Let her go, man.
She's
just let her do what she does.
Tornado.
She does this all night, too. You can't even hardly sleep with her.
So anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, so the weather on Sunday, right? So this was the day where the front was coming through, and the forecast was like there was gonna be tornadoes. And
it was gonna fucking rain.
It was gonna be
Margaret Orr was
terrible.
Like, doesn't look good, y'all.
Right.
Fucking Carl Arredondo with his 10% of sight said it's gonna rain. Don't go out.
In his send off swan song forecast.
His last one was don't go. I can't even see the radar, but don't go.
So that was all pending, and because of that, the city decided that none of the parades going that day could have bands or marching clubs or anything. So all the bands and shit that were in Okeanos, Mid-City, and Toth were yanked by the city. And
floats only.
It was only floats. And if you have seen Toth, and you know how big it is, and you know they have a lot of big floats, but a lot of really interesting floats, and a lot of, like this year, they were Toth Salutes the Greats, and there was like... The Great Depression was one.
Yeah.
Wait, that was y'all's theme?
Yeah.
Oh, so I must have caught a doubloon from a previous year with the institutions, or is that your constant, or that was a specialty doubloon?
That's a specialty doubloon.
Oh, okay.
But so it was just the great and powerful Oz and the great we were the Great Pyramid. Anyway, so it's
the Great Gatsby.
The
Great One, Wayne Gretzky.
Well-designed parade, and it's a fun parade to watch. But if you see it all just zoom in front of your face at one time, it must be miserable to watch. I can't even imagine.
It was not the most miserable thing that had happened to me that day, if that's what you're wondering.
But it was worse.
And it was weird because I've always wondered what a parade would be like if it was all flows. And like, it's like, wow, it's just... Because sometimes I'm like... Man, this dance crew really sucks.
It's like Lucky Charms with just the marshmallows.
Yes, and it turns out it's terrible.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
Because, let me tell you why. Because you have no chance to stop and catch your breath. You can't talk to your friend. You can't check your phone. You can't even really drink your beer. You can't eat that sandwich that you lovingly made at the house and walked out to the route with. You can't do any of that because you're just being pelted. Because you also have to remember... It's Toth, and these guys throw and throw and throw and throw. And they're not going to stop just because you've already caught, like, 4 hours worth of beads in 20 minutes. No, they're gonna keep throwing at you. So yeah, did my sandwich get pelted out of my hand? Yes, it did. Did I have to cover my Bloody Mary cup with my hand to keep the beads and doubloons from flying in it? Yes, I did. Did I finish the entire parade still drinking the same Bloody Mary I walked out there with? Yes. It was crazy.
And so I was riding in this parade, and I can tell you it was a mirror of the same experience. Like the parade does not stop because there's no bullshit to make it jerk and start and stop. It goes very fast. And if you're riding, you aren't getting into the rhythm yourself of like interacting with the crowd and enjoying yourself and stopping to have a drink and whatever. Like you are just, fuck, we're moving and we have all these beats and these people better fucking take them because you guys just get them.
It was like you were on a sinking,
are rolling in and it's like, oh,
a sinking ship and you got to throw some shit overboard or you're going down.
That's right. And so, like, Allie was talking about the end of Endymion where they're trying to get rid of their shit. Well, that was, like, the entire route was just get rid of the beats. And it was so bad. I think, so you guys, we usually see y'all when the parade gets to, like, Jefferson.
Yeah.
And Toth has a very long route. They start on Tchoupitoulas and go all the way up to Henry Clay and then come back up to Magazine and go all the way back down Magazine. So we were, like... not a third of the way through, but maybe like a fourth of the way through, and oddly enough, we stopped in front of Allie and Pat for a second, and like they come up to me and I go, "I've only had half of this one beer so far."
Well, and it seemed less crowded than usual, although up to that point the weather was perfect. It was
like,
windy.
We're going to do this.
But it was, like, lovely.
So that was the other thing that we were pissed off about the whole
time.
The
radar was good, too.
Yeah.
We were like, what the fuck? The sun is out. Where's our fucking bands? Like, what is going on? So we were feeling really smug the whole time while that was going on.
Right.
Except that as soon as we got to the inn, as soon as we were getting off the float, the shit comes through.
And it did.
And it hailed.
The trash tornado was fucking for real, and then it was accompanied by that fucking drop in temperature that just, it got me. It killed me.
Yeah.
I lost.
Yeah, you guys were out there.
That was a loss. That day, that part of the day ended up my football team lost.
Thank God I was home by then because I was like, this would be fucking miserable. And then I heard later about you being out in that, and I was like... No.
Well, to make matters worse, I also was trying to catch the box of wine parade, and we were ready, and our group was there, except the monsoon came through. It was cold. We didn't know when it was going to stop. We didn't know if box of wine was going to roll because there ain't no fucking parade out for that goddamn thing, right? Everybody was cold in the group. There's about, 20 of us, right? We all are underneath a 10 by 10 foot by 10 foot little Chinese imported tent. Mm-hmm. And I want to say maybe 18 out of the 20 people are out of their mind on drugs.
Fun.
So, right. And I got a decent little Miller Lite buzz going. My girlfriend Tisha's lunar cycle had started that morning. And we
that begins with the Big Bang, by the way.
Sort of.
I'm familiar.
Yeah. We slipped off. Like I was like, everybody here's on drugs. We don't know what's gonna happen. I'm cold. I'm wet. Tracy's. We can sail into the night and hit this island called Tracy's. It's out there. So we just bounced from that. Right. Got to Tracy's. Decided to start drinking some whiskey. I figured whiskey was appropriate at this moment. What the fuck else is going on? Drank some whiskey. The rain stopped. The sun came out maybe for a few moments. We're like, fuck it. We're going to Jeff's. We go there. I start getting cold again. And I don't know
because the cold blew in with the rain.
The cold blew in with the rain.
That's the worst.
And I was wearing
you were in like sandals,
linen shorts, and a V-neck
right
cotton T-shirt, and that's it.
Yeah.
And sandals, yeah.
Yeah, that was not appropriate.
And I just start trudging towards Jeff's, and I'm just going there, and I'm like, I'm gonna show up, and I feel a little bad about it because I know people must show up with needs all throughout Mardi Gras, right? They just show up fucking needy, right? And I'm like, I'm just gonna be that guy who fucking shows up at Jeff's with needs, man. But I had capital N needs, bruh. And Chris said it. She was like, it's the saddest I've ever seen him. Like, I knocked on that door and I just was like, save me. I was cold, I was too drunk, and I needed fucking layers of clothing. Fortunately, they just had...
you just walk away from me?
So I had just gotten back while this was going on, which is great because it just... The timing worked out great. We waited out the rain at the hotel when we got back off the float, and then I had this really great bike ride right after the rain, like coming back up and kind of like the afterglow of whatever that parade was.
Oh, you had a really good one. You saw all kinds. You saw a box of wine.
There was a moment where I was riding back up the parade route, and someone was blasting. I Wish It Would Rain by Phil Collins.
Oh. Phil Collins.
And I had to stop and text you guys about it because it was that big a deal. And then I kept going, and I ran into Jordan and Galena again. And as we were talking, a fucking flock of pelicans come in V formation over the parade route in just like a flyover. And that went by. And
you were having a Mardi Gras moment after Mardi Gras moment. It was a Toth parade of Mardi Gras moments.
I mean, I realized that no matter what else was going on...
Couldn't even eat your sandwich because there was so many Mardi Gras moments happening.
I thought, dude, no, it's Mardi Gras Sunday. It's fucked up, but it's happening because you can see the things in the air. And then I saw the box of wine parade come at me and turn on to MLK from St. Charles. So I know that it existed.
It did. It came by and it hit that group of drug-influenced people, and they had an amazing time.
Yeah. So then so all of that happened, and so this is where I was. While you were like hiding out in Tracy's, this is where I was.
Hunkering down, if you will.
Right. And then I got home, and I was home for like a few minutes, and I'm still coming down from all that. And that's when you showed up.
And I needed saving.
But that was great, too.
Your fucking blessed wife. She did what she does. I was like, Chris will save me. I'll apologize to her, but she will save me.
You needed some clean, dry clothes.
And Lord, were they. They had shit that matched my outfit, for fuck's sake. It was a nice, fluffy sweatshirt that Jeff had gotten with a Sports Illustrated subscription.
Yes.
Prescriptions.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is
Sports
Illustrated.
Swimsuit edition.
Sports Illustrated sweatshirt, and I think we gave Tisha a sweat.
She got saved too, and then we went back and we hit that parade, and that parade was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, then we went to Bacchus, and that was again. No matter what the circumstances, I'm already at the top at that point, so I'm gonna have a great time anyway. And we did, and Bacchus was fucking great.
Bacchus was good.
And it was. This was probably one of the better Bacchuses I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Jensen Ackles really stole the show.
No, I didn't pay any attention to him.
No, he sucked. Like he was. We didn't get a doubloon from him or anything. Who gives
Too
a
many
shit?
Fucking Page balloons in that parade.
Right.
Like they were throwing the balloons. I was like, Page, fucking Page, come on.
But we didn't give a shit about that at all. Like they were doing a filmed in Louisiana theme. And you kept looking for
Girls Trip. Right.
But they didn't do Girls Trip, but they did a lot of shit that might as well have been Girls Trip. Like it was like
they did Treme, Princess and the Frog, and they didn't do Port of Call New Orleans. Bad Lieutenant 2, Port of Call New Orleans.
But they did NCIS or something like that. Right?
They did NCIS. They did King Creole. They did some ones that I didn't even fucking think were cool.
American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Deja Vu?
Nope.
No.
They hammered a couple in there.
Yeah.
They hammered a couple in there. And
they did Claws?
No.
They didn't do fucking Claws.
God.
Filmed a half a block away
True
from
Detective?
where? No.
They also
that would have been badass. They could have done some Time as a Flat.
They could have made fun of Rex and Comus and done True Detective at the same time.
They didn't do the Tim Reed, what's it called? The one that was based on Upper Line? They didn't do that?
No. But anyway, it was fun, and so they did. It was fun watching for all that stuff, and
they threw some pretty badass throws.
And we watched it from the opposite side of the street,
right?
Which was like
we ended up
change your perspective
on the West Bank.
We were on the West Bank of the parade route, which was really weird for us, but it was neat to kind of do like reverse perspective on the parade. Also, I might point out that those swords that they were throwing were powered by 2 AA batteries. So if you really want to think about throws you can use, sort of throws you can use, you just take those batteries out and then you can power your remote for probably 3 years on that shit. So they're throwing batteries, basically.
I mean, you can think of it that way.
Okay. Yeah.
And all kinds of other stuff, your typical stuff. Great parade. Good night. And then we caught we got a ride home from the bartender at Tracy's.
Yeah, so we went back to Tracy's afterward too.
That was Ubers were like $50 leaving out of that. Oh, you were at Tracy's.
That's right.
Yeah. That was the last I saw of my ATM card this Mardi Gras.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know. No one's using it, but I don't have it either. So it's just out there. You go back, you go into your bank account, and you're like, well, okay, well, it was that night. That's where all life activity ceased on the ATM card.
Oh my god.
That's what happened.
Wait, you're like an ATM card or a debit card?
It was a credit card that I used kind of like the same way most people use an ATM card. I just charge everything to the credit card and then pay it off at the end of the month. But
should probably cancel that.
It's fine. If nothing's happening, it's fine. Like the last thing is Tracy's and it's the tip. Go ahead, Doris.
Y'all, these farts.
Isn't she awesome in her old age?
God.
She's so fucking cool, man.
They're so squeaky.
I know. It's because she's so bloated and that bunghole is so tight. I mean, she's cute.
It sounds like letting air out of a
Get a
balloon.
picture, Allie. She's hanging out on the couch with us.
He told us the dog was going to fart when we got here.
Oh, wow.
But this exceeds expectations.
It does.
Look, I'm telling you, man. She is hanging out with us on the... So,
all right.
What's your thing, Doris?
Should we
leave
it there?
No, we're going to do Sunday and then we'll do Fat Tuesday.
We just did Sunday.
No, we'll do Fat Tuesday. No, we'll do Monday and then we'll do Fat Tuesday in a separate episode.
Okay.
Because Monday ain't so huge for me. I woke up. I got my ass out of bed. I ended up in the gallery. I worked the gallery. There was all kinds of, it's that you get in a more smarter crowd on Monday, You get either diehards or locals or regulars, So you get that. It's less chatty on Monday and Tuesday, which is fucking good.
Would you want to hold off on that stuff if we're doing it later?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna do a single episode of Fat Tuesday and just get to Fat Tuesday.
We just wanted to quick cover Monday.
Oh, okay.
Because nothing
He's talking about Monday.
Yeah.
Of huge note happened on Monday.
We had a good Monday.
We did.
Yeah, we would.
The cold front came through, so we bundled up and we went down to. I texted Jeff and I said, "Hey, I made a big pot of beans. Would you like me to bring some?"
They're magical fruit.
And he was like, "I have a big pot of beans on the stove right now, so I think we're good."
Oh, Battle of the Beans.
That's what I should have done. Was brought some so that we could have, had
bean fight.
Bean fight. Some other time. But no, we bundled up. We went down there for Proteus and Orpheus. I think Nathan came out again for the parade.
Yep.
And
I want to say he was out on Sunday too, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trooper.
So
but
we
they were
Proteus
great.
and Orpheus.
There were like these ladders next to us that were empty, and so I kept just climbing up there and using it for photos, which was fun.
Because fuck it, they're not being used. Community property, right?
Right, and also it's very easy to just go up and take a couple pictures and then go back down and who cares, right?
Right.
The whole
not
idea is that you're just moving around. You're
not the adorable deplorables.
Right. No. They're very territorial. But anyway, Proteus and Orpheus were both beautiful parades. Orpheus is my favorite, even if it turns out that fucking Laura Ingraham was on the...
who even knew that was happening?
Who is that?
One of those Fox News fascist blonde ladies.
Oh, like the Tammys and the Anns.
Yeah,
and the...
but she also has a whole
radio
show and all kind of. She's a big asshole. But she wasn't featured in the parade, so people afterwards
she was just
were complaining.
An anonymous rider.
Yeah. So there was a lot of oh well, fuck Orpheus for having her in the parade. But
well, if she's an anonymous rider, who gives a fuck?
Right. But
there's worse people than her among those anonymous riders.
That's true.
Doris.
This is her now, bro. This is her life, man.
Yeah, you smell
so bad.
This is amazing.
Does she sleep in the bed with you?
No, I got that little blanket next to it, man. I'm like, you're too gross, babe. It was one of my favorite things ever, was cuddling with her back in the day, but she's just too gross now to do it. She's kicking it on the couch with us, though.
Yeah.
She's doing a podcast. What you got to say? Nothing. Quiet. All I did was run downtown. I caught it. There's a sweet spot to catch parades if you're downtown, and it's after they make the turn onto Tchoupitoulas. It's very sparse. You can walk right up to the. There's no barricades or nothing, and it's kind of been my sweet spot to catch them if I have to catch them downtown. Walked up there, saw me that Smoky Mary, caught that ferry home, got ready for Fat Tuesday, ate that spaghetti. Ain't that right, girl?
Yeah, I did a bunch of costuming on Monday because I had the day off and I wanted to bedazzle my jacket a little bit more, and I couldn't find my hot glue gun. And then I remembered that the new craft store is 2 doors down from my house, so...
What? Oh, the one that used to be the mortuary or something like that?
No, that's the Kincaid Cove.
Oh, okay.
This is one called NOLA Craft Culture, and it was opened by these ladies who ride in muses, and all they sell is glitter and glue and all sorts
I want to say that Jessica told me about that.
It's a great place.
Fucking right.
So I got a bunch of supplies from there, and it was great because I just walked on over and then walked home and went to town. It was great. And then we were ready for Tuesday morning.
So, yeah, my goodness, Doris.
All right, well, I think Doris is ready for bed.
Yeah, I think that's.
No, she's not. She's gonna do this all night, and then she gets up and she just walks around the house and figure eights and shit like that. It's a mess.
Yeah. Do you wear earplugs?
No, because I don't see her enough that I just think every sound she makes is just the cuteness of Doris.
But how do you sleep though?
Last night I didn't much very well.
Wow.
Tonight it's gonna be even worse. It's all right though. Look how cute she is.
She's very cute.
She's
always been cute.
It's gonna happen to everybody. She's got the age. She got full blown age, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening with her. Oh my god.
Still got her energy though.
Anyway, I guess that's about as much Mardi Gras as we can possibly jam in tonight.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Because it's almost about to be literally tomorrow. So
yeah,
we're gonna catch y'all with our super duper Fat Tuesday episode sometime next week. Hard to forget all those beautiful memories.
It was a great Fat Tuesday.
Fucking right.
Yeah.
I had a good one. Nobody could fade me.
We'll get into it next time.
Yeah, I got some stuff to talk about, but we'll do it next time. And thanks for putting up with all this tonight. I would like to thank Doris, just for
a real champion,
a special guest. She's older than all of us. This is what age is, huh, babe? Looking good though. Hanging out. Lots of energy.
All right, guys. We'll do it.
Till next time.